All right, welcome in everyone. Today's iteration of the Veteran Workshop or the Veteran Awareness Project Workshop. Today we are going to be getting into VA forms. We're just going to be covering a bunch of the VA forms, the different ones that people need to use and are available for uh, veterans to use when it comes to filing their disability claims. We'll be going into a couple of DBQs. We'll go into just VA forms in general because some of the times a lot of veterans don't know what the forms are, where to look for them. So we're just going to try to highlight and show the different locations where to find uh, the VA forms and also just going over them. I'm just going to work on also building up my base, my database basically, which is including all of these forms, which will be provided for people to be able to just like find them, be able to search for them, be able to just basically pick up these data forms that'll be available to people for people to just basically resort to. And if you need them, they'll be easily and readily available for you. Uh, we are working on our website, which is going to incorporate a whole bunch of that stuff. So that's something that we're going to try to do and implement also. So that's the main basis of today. But as always, if you have any questions regarding your benefits, your entitlements, exemptions, any specific questions when it comes to like certain programs or anything like that, don't hesitate to ask. Just go ahead and ask away. Um, there's no, like I said, there's never a wrong answer. Well, there's wrong answers, but there's never wrong questions. So if you have any questions regarding any of those items, benefits, entitlements, and stuff, go ahead and do so and just pop into the chat, ask it. Don't excuse me. Don't worry about it. Like I said, there's a lot of questions out there that have been have been an issue, I would say, for a lot of people, and that's one thing that I'm trying to make sure that I get that information out. As if you haven't noticed on the community page for the YouTube channel, we are basically providing a quiz, a daily quiz on questions that we change every day, so that every day you're able to take part of the quiz and answer questions as I provide them. So one thing I noticed is that when it came to asking questions with VA forms, a lot of the answers were incorrect and a lot of people did not know what the actual form was. So a lot of people are resorting to going through filing disability claims. So now if you're filing a disability claim and you don't have an idea of what you're supposed to be filing or what form you're supposed to be filing, that means that you're probably not filing a complete claim. So if you're not filing a complete claim, that's already hindering you back and it slows down your process. And that's more chances like you're upping your chances of denial by not having something like solidified. You want to make sure that you have your you want to make sure you have your data there. You have to have that. Qualifications for disability, it depends on, you just basically have to be honorably discharged. Other than honorable is okay. Nothing like bad conduct and stuff like that, because that you may remove. But then also, if that's the case, you may need to just update and try to upgrade your contract termination of when you ETS from the military, because sometimes you are able to upgrade it. You still have to go through the process of filing to upgrade your disability or basically your ETS from the military, but that goes through a process where you have to build character statements, character letters, information, and proving that, hey, maybe you got out of the military in this manner and it wasn't beneficial, or the military, sometimes the military just screwed people over when it came to exiting the military. So you can try to upgrade your service discharge that way. That way, that enables you to get benefits. You can still enroll into VA healthcare, which is something that the VA is basically trying to expand for all veterans. Keep in mind that you have PACT Act issues, you have just medical issues, you got med boarded, or you retired from the military. All those instances basically allow you to still gain disabilities. Also, just because of your exit, you still have the availability of other programs which are within the VA system. There's the VRE, which is the Veteran Readiness and Employment Program. That program allows you to assist yourself and your family sometimes, depending on what it is through the programs you're getting. You're able to get this information, and that allows you to do that. So that's one thing that people need to realize, that there's a bunch of info and a bunch of programs that are beneficial to veterans that veterans just have to, I wouldn't say search for, but you just have to know where they are and what's available to you. But one of the main things is definitely being able to understand and know that, hey, yes, there is such a thing as eligibility. There is such a thing as requirements. It's not you just go into it and they just give you the stuff. You have to go through the paperwork and stuff like that. And that's where VA forms come in handy. If you've gone to va.gov, most of the time you've gone to va.gov and you've tried to search for VA forms and stuff like that, you probably have an issue where it's just like, it's hard to find the VA form, or you don't even know that there's a VA form. Now, with most of the people, when they file a disability claim, it's simple and they just go through the online capabilities, which we'll make a video on that. We have 5 easy steps to do it, which is just a way to show people how to file through that video, but is not a concrete and in-depth manner of like, hey, this is what you need to make sure you're doing. Make sure you're getting the evidence, make sure you're getting your documentation. So that's the stuff that you got to make sure to look into. With a lot of veterans, it's let's see, because there's not even a specific spot on here for you. Like if you go to va.gov, so we'll show this, and let's switch it to the share screen. So this is the va.gov one. And if you're on va.gov, you can go and check it. You can go through the site and you can go through the links, and you will see that there's not really a specific spot that says, hey, VA forms. Well, it does right here. So let me retract that. It does say that. Find VA form. So when you click on this, it's basically enter a keyword, form name, or a number. I can tell you this much. Most people have no idea what the VA numbers are or the forms. These forms are just like, it's the easiest way of putting it. The forms are basically numbered the same way your military installation numbered their buildings. Now, if you served and you're a military veteran, you understand what I mean by that. That basically the building numbers in any military installation make no damn sense. They're not numbered in order. There's like, this is building 1 here, and then next to it is like building 1500 followed by building 30. So it's just like, it's the same way that it happens when it comes to the VA forms, that the VA forms are not numbered in a numerical value. How these people came up with these numerations, I don't know. It's always a good thing to try to figure out. But that's the one thing I noticed with this, is just like, hey, this is one of the things, you know, that it makes it difficult to do. Hold on, let's see. So it's just basically knowing, do veterans know their benefits or do they not? Do they know their VA forms or do they not? That's one of the biggest things here, is not knowing what the VA forms are. So what I've been doing is yesterday I started it. I started basically trying to document the VA forms I have, because I have some VA forms that I've already had and I've shared with service members and veterans to basically use. But there's also a longer list of forms. So one of the biggest forms I think that most people do not know and are not aware of now is the DBQs. So that one they do not know enough about, because they don't know and they're not aware that you can actually have this filled out now by your own medical provider, something that was not available before. So that's something that people need to keep in mind, that is just like, hey, you are now able to fill out the DBQ or have your medical professional or your medical doctor fill out a DBQ. Whereas before, that wasn't an available option. It wasn't something that was there. See, and this we'll bring it here. So this is like one of the forms that basically is brought out there. So basically you can use that to your advantage, and it allows you to see these different items. So basically the DBQs are basically, there's like this explanation for those that don't know what a DBQ is, because most of the time if you're filing a disability claim, you want to make sure that you have one of these in there if you're able to get one of these done. Why? Because it gives you more documentation. It gives you more, how can I put it? I wouldn't say, it's kind of like more proof also, but it's not necessarily just proof. It's just information that you will receive knowing that, hey, this is what's available. This is what happened with me. This is how my doctor has diagnosed me. This is what they've seen. And that way it's easier also, because when you file for this, it gives you the availability to see what else you can actually file for. So that's one of the things I think with the DBQs that people don't realize is just like when they ask you a specific question as to, hey, this is the ailment you have. Let's say, go down the list, and we have simple, let's go with the musculoskeletal, because that's one of the ones most people deal with. So if you go with the musculoskeletal and you have back problems. So this will open up in an evidence review, but then here are the different diagnoses associated with the claimed conditions. So this is one thing, and this is one thing that a lot of people fail to realize when it comes to the DBQs, is that you have all these different things that basically may be associated with your first claim. So to basically say, hey, you have a back issue. Now, when you get diagnosed by your doctor, now you can go into this DBQ and you can see, hey, how many of these different claims can I claim, or can my doctor say I have or diagnose me with, that I can also file for? So it's not only a, hey, you have a lumbar or cervical issue. It's, hey, what other issues do I have because of this diagnosis? So the breakdown of it just shows select diagnoses associated with claimed conditions. Check all that apply. So you have the veteran does not have a current diagnosis associated with any claimed conditions listed below. And then, but it tells you basically, hey, okay, so what's the explanation for the service member not having anything? And then put anything in there. But then it breaks down all the other ones. So you have ankylosing spondylitis. I have no idea what that is, but your doctor will. So your doctor's going to know what that is. Most people will not know what that is. Degenerative arthritis, that's a claim. Degenerative disc disease, which a lot of veterans, if not almost every veteran, deals with it, because you've been rucking a lot, you've been carrying extra weight on your body that you're not supposed to. And depending on what units you are, if you're infantry, combat arms, most of the time you deal with more back issues than you realize, because you're rucking more, you have more stuff. Or you fall into some of those units that think they're combat arms and they're not. And then all of a sudden you have more back issues than you should. And then people associate it, oh, just like, oh, you're a pogue. Or, you see what I'm saying? And then that distinction happens, but nobody goes through that experience but the veteran themselves. So you have to understand that those are the different things that are available to you. And then it just goes down the list. Lumbroscal strain. So lumbar, do you have a strain in your back? Invertebral disc syndrome. Tells you to see the definitions. And then it just goes down the list. Weakness, segmental instability, spinal fusion, stenosis, vertebrae dislocation, vertebrae fraction. These are all things that if you don't know, you would go into CFR, Title 38, Chapter 1, Part 4. So if you go into that, now that gives you a further breakdown of what that is. And let me just show you a quick rundown of what that is. So if you go into the CFR, you go into the CFR. So what you're going to do is you could go to the table of contents. You go to musculoskeletal. Then you just got to find where back issues are, because it'll break it down and it'll take you to there. And then you're just scrolling down. But this is the measurement when it comes to like joints and stuff like that. Movement, acute diseases and stuff that happens with it, prosthetic and implants. Let's see, let's keep on going. Upper extremity, because then it has, your hands, what's messed up with your hands, what different things, elbow and forearm. It goes with the extension and the movement. Remember that it's not your pain level, it's how much can you move your arm, what angle and degrees can you go to. But see here, the spine. Now from here, it gives you the breakdown of what those things are. So these are the same things we just found here in this VA form, in the DBQ. Same items, just now they're switched over so you can see them. Because then it's going to ask for the ICD code. And a lot of people don't know what the ICD code is. They're going to be like, what is the ICD code? What it basically is that in the, I think is, I forget, a diagnostic code, individual code diagnosis or something like that. Forget what the wording is exactly. But these are all the items that are here. And it shows you, it gives you the breakdown. These are the different things that you have. They range from 0 to 100%. If you go through here, these separately evaluate disability of the thoracolumbar and cervical spine segments, except when there is unfavorable ankylosis of both segments, which will be rated as a single disability. So basically it tells you to make sure, hey, if you're claiming, make sure you're claiming for your upper back and make sure you're claiming for your lower back. Those are two distinctive things. Reason why: lower back can mess with your legs, numbness, tingling feeling in your legs falling asleep when you're standing, stuff like that, sciatica, stuff like that. When it comes to upper, it means nerve damage or pinching of the nerve, which can cause your shoulder to go numb or your arm to go numb, movement, your fingers feel like they're going numb. Happened to me while I was playing PlayStation. That's when I went and got seen. I was literally playing and my arm went numb. My hand started going numb. And I was just like, this is not, like, this is weird. I was like, I know I've been gaming for a while, but I haven't been gaming that long that my hand started going numb. So I was just like, let me go get this checked out. And that's there. Question from Annette is, let's see, let's highlight this. See if it pops up. There we go. So question is, what happens if the VA tries to schedule you for a CMP exam that is over 50 miles away and is with a male examiner? However, you requested only female and requested within 50 miles only. Annette, in questions like that, so what you're going to try to do is you're going to call the VA back and let them know what the issue is. That you would like a female provider or a female CMP examiner and you would like something closer to you. The issue is that that's where we have into that problem of what is available to you for the issue you are looking into. That's where it becomes a difficult situation, because if your CMP examiner is a specific thing, so if you're trying to request a CMP or you're making a disability claim for something that is very specific, the VA is going to try to find that specialty or that specialist in that claim. So if it's something like musculoskeletal or something like that, the VA is going to be able to find stuff like that for you. The problem lies now is this a specific thing you are asking for? Because if it's something very specific, maybe they don't have a female provider available. Maybe they don't have anyone closer than the 50-mile mark. So it becomes what's available to the VA that makes sense for them. Because they may be able to find a female examiner, but she may be 200 miles away. The closest one may be a very far distance. So that's where it becomes a difficult part, because it's like, yes, we can request to have a specified person to see us and stuff like that. But the thing is what's available through the VA? Because remember, you have to have somebody that's contracted through the VA to be able to do the CMP examiners. They don't just grab anybody that can just be, you can have somebody that's literally right next door that can do that CMP exam, but if they're not under the VA is not going to contract them out unless they already have a contract with them to serve you and take care of the CMP exam. So that's one thing that it becomes a difficult issue when it comes to that, where it's like, yes, I'm requesting this, but it's not made available to the VA because maybe the VA doesn't have it available. Uh, so the second part of this question is will they provide transportation? Most of the time, the VA, unless you resort and ask them to, they will try to provide transportation. What happens is if they cannot provide the transportation, then you would have to go through the BTSSS, which is like the veteran travel reimbursement thing, and then you will end up getting reimbursed for it. So basically, you would go to the appointment. Sometimes they give you like a printout, they give you like a handout, and it's basically like, hey, this is what was made available. This is where you're traveling to. So you would fill out the claim, and it's basically, hey, home address to this location, round trip. You can add food on there. Just make sure you have the receipt and you can claim it and upload that also. And then you would just get reimbursed. I believe it's like 42 cents per mile that you get on there. If it's 50 miles away, back and forth, it would come out to at least, I think it's like 40 something dollars, I think. There is a so you have a VA down the street. So the thing is for the CMP and what you are trying to get seen for or examined for, do they actually have it? Because that's where it runs into the problem. So if you can go through the travel system to get reimbursed for your travel, because I believe it's only at 30%. Once you're at 30%, you can receive travel reimbursement. You can have somebody close by, but remember, do they have the person available and the correct person to actually examine you? So that's where it becomes it's 98 miles away. So that would be a claim. So that would be 200 miles round trip. So basically it's 2 hour drive one way, 2 hour drive back, 4 hours. They reimburse you for that because basically 100 for like about 100 miles of reimbursement, you get I think it's like about $40. Think it's about $40. If it's that way, it'll be like $80. But then remember, if it's a 4 hour trip back and forth, you can get a meal while going and you can get a meal while coming back and you submit that also. So it sucks because it's like you're gonna be traveling for like 4 hours. You're gonna be traveling for 2 hours to go do something that's gonna take half an hour and then travel back. The only way they really reimburse you with that, if they cannot provide transportation, is basically they will have you fill out a travel voucher, which a lot of veterans don't do and don't even know they can do. With all these long trips, sometimes they say it's automatic. It's not always automatic. You still have to file the claim for it. And then there's a deductible that goes with it. And I believe it's like $18 per month that they I think your deductible is I think $18 a month. And then it's like another one for food or something, or like for single way trips is a certain amount, and then round trip is another thing. They'll take that deductible out of paying you for your trip, but then when you on after that, you get the full amount when you file for it. So that's where it comes out to in that point. That's where you would have to like check. But like I said, most of the time, if it's something that you are trying to get an appointment done for or seen for, chances are that the reason why they are sending you so far is that there's nobody close available to see you. Because that's the same thing with me with the periodontist. The VA I usually go to had one. The person retired. So they were like, well, now we're going to send you an hour out the other way. Usually you drive an hour this way, and now you got to go back the other way. And that's and Annette, trust me, I think that's the biggest issue I think that veterans come to realize is that's the one thing that I do say that with this whole contracting out thing works. But the thing is just like, how do they go about this? How do they go about contracting people to make sure that you are able and to see these things? Because basically, like you said, your hospital is 7 miles away, but they're trying to send you 100 miles away, meaning that whoever that CMP examiner is a specialist in what you're at. Oh, I know, Annette. The thing is just because they have the CMP department at that location does not mean that they have what they need for you. Now, if it's something that is just like Like let's say they're requiring this for like a regular CMP exam. That's an issue. Then you definitely got to call like, yo, why are y'all trying to send me this far? But if it's something that is like a specialist to determine that, then that's when it becomes kind of hard because it's just like the VA doesn't have everybody specializing in it. Like we said before, the VA has the money, but it's just like, do the people want to be hired by the VA? Like I said, in my case, my guy retired. They was like, we ain't got nobody, so we have to send you over here for you to be seen. I was just like, this is the closest we got. If they didn't have anybody else closer, I think the next one was like Kansas City to me, which is like almost a 2-hour drive. I was just like, that's the same thing with like the massage therapy for me. I knew that we can get massage therapy. That's something that you are able to get. I believe you're able to go for 2 different massage therapies while you're going through like back issues or whatever the case. But the closest one to me was in Kansas City, which is almost like a 2-hour, like close to 2 hours, hour and a half, depending on how I'm driving, depending on how many stops I have to do, stretch out my back while I'm driving. But the chiropractor that they sent me to has the same capabilities. The same chiropractor that they have contracted me to go to, and I've been seeing, has massage therapy in the same building. But I can't go through there because they're not contracted for that. They're contracted for chiropractic service, not massage therapy. And I was just like, hold on, but I have somebody, I can go literally in the same place I'm already going to. They're like, yeah, we don't have them under contract for that. So it's just like, that's what makes it difficult. But if it's a specific department that you're looking for, a specific thing, they're going to try to find somebody that actually has that information. So that's where it sucks. That's where the VA does suck. Because it's not like it's open to everything. It was just like, you can have a hospital, it'd be like, look, the hospital can take care of it, but if the hospital isn't on the contract, they're not going to send you there. You have to pay someone $525 to get you to that appointment. Jesus. Oh, damn. Because that's the only thing is you'll be able to recoup not even enough by doing the travel voucher thing. But that's when I would contact the VA and do it. But the thing is, like I said, if it's just because of availability, or if you know of somebody that can do that CMP exam closer, try to see if they can work something out where it's just like, hey, you can go to it and try to see if they can bill it after. So then like send it like how it is sometimes when people go like to the emergency room or to urgent care, where you have to notify the VA within 72 hours. Like, hey, I went to the emergency room or I went to the urgent care to get seen. You have to notify the VA. So try to see, maybe it's possible that you can contact the VA and be like, look, this is going to cost me this amount or this amount to get to this location, and it's difficult for me to get there. I'm on have to drive down to Phoenix. Oh shit. And I think that would be the best way about it, Annette, is basically trying to find out if, hey, is there a way for me to see somebody closer that can do this? And then, but the thing is the CMP. So, and then the CMP goes over this certain criteria. So basically, if they're going through the CMP, they have to know this. They have to know this information. They have to know. Let me see if I can make this smaller. They have to know that basically it's within that range. And that's what I think makes it even tougher. It's just like the range isn't there. So if they don't have that range and they can't see that range, it's difficult to show people what's going on. Because basically, like I said, if it's a specific thing, you have to drive to it, but it's hard for you to get that, because yes, it's hard for you to get to that location. Unfortunately, the VA sometimes don't. The VA just makes an appointment just like, hey, this is what we have available. They try to work with us, but it's you reaching out and trying to see like, hey, is there any other way or any other way of being seen for this or being taken care of this issue? to be taken care of, so I don't have to come out of pocket so much for that. Because the one thing they might tell you is like, hey, well, we'll be able to reimburse you for a portion of that, which is not going to go nowhere near $500 something for to get you there. So that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. And then, like I said, with the VA forms, this is the DBQ4 backs. Go through here, diagnostic codes. It breaks it down here for you. So this is knee and leg, so we're not going to look at that. Hip and thigh, we're not going to look at. Cervical spine. So this is basically how they're going to rate your spine. This is what they're going to go about. They're going to go and check your flexion, your motion, and stuff like that. And that's how you get that information that way. These are the codes. The codes will basically break it down for you. So if you see these codes here, these are the codes that are going to go with these codes here. So that's where you would fill in that information and put whatever diagnostic code it is. Once you put the diagnostic code in there, now you have that and you can put that as part of your claim. Because now this is going to fill out. And now your doctor is going to say when they diagnosed you with this issue. So now the same thing, once you're diagnosed with this issue, that's on there. One of the important things about the VA forms is we have to make sure that we are paying attention to when the VA form was made. Because I've seen and heard a couple of issues where it comes that people have been filing their DBQs and they've been getting kicked back. Not because there's errors on it, but it was just the outdated form. So basically you want to make sure that when you're going on here, you go to this link. Where is it at? And I'll put this in chat. So that way everybody has it here. So this is the link where it has all the DBQ information for veterans to go through. So basically, if you have it, these are the public disability ones. These are the ones you can go through. You can go use that link. You'll just use it and then click on whichever one you need. The VA updates the link. So at the same time, if let's say, look, and it says it on the bottom of the page, it says last updated August 5th of 2024. So basically no new forms have been provided or created from this point, but you got to keep in mind that these change. There's new things that get added. If it's a new claim, a new question that they feel is important, they're going to add that in there. And that's why, like with this one, it basically says updated on August 5th of 2024. So when the last revision was done for that link, for those links, they also make sure to put that on the form so that you can see the form is updated and this is the latest form to use. If you are using an outdated form, the VA is going to kick it back and you're going to have to refile everything all over again and basically go through the motions of filling out all that documentation to get it done. Hold on, BT. Hold on. Annette, this is what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you probably are aware of this. This is the portal for travel. I forgot to add that earlier. This is the beneficiary travel system, travel self-service system. Basically the BTSSS service. So basically, if you are going on any trip that is going for a certain amount of time, certain location, farther from where you reside from, you will go through here. It should pull up all the appointments that you have should populate on this. This is the BTSS self-service system. So this is for veterans. If you are traveling, you need to make sure you are getting on this site. Make sure you are clicking on here. Make sure you are going to the BTSSS. You fill this out, Access VA. Basically, it's depending on how you log in. You can use ID Me, which we've spoken about, your DS logon if you still have that information. There's the Healthy Vet, so you can go through your health analysis stuff all there. You go through here and you will fill out your information. It will tell you where your location is. I'll probably make a video on this, but I have to like edit out so it doesn't show my information. You basically fill that out. You have the information. it gives you let me see, because this one is kind of hard to see here. So basically, you have your information. You'll have to put your bank account information, which will basically link it, and you have to have it's basically the same bank account that you receive your compensation pay, your disability compensation pay. From there, it'll populate and it will tell you, hey, these are the different appointments that we are tracking you went to or we scheduled. You can go and you'll be able to hit claim or create a claim, and it'll populate for you. It transfers over. It asks you where's the address, where the facility is. You add that information and it'll tell you, then it'll ask you what expenses do you want to claim. Well, is it mileage, which that's most definitely the one that pays out the most. Then you have food. If you stayed overnight and stayed at a hotel, stuff like that, you can claim those things for there. For the hotel, there's a certain I think it has to be like a certain amount of time of travel or something like that for you to be able to do that. But if not, you are basically still claiming that you stayed overnight or you ate food or whatever the case. You're submitting the receipts for the food. Best thing to do is submit the receipts for the food, because then it's easier for them to claim and see, hey, look, ate in this location, did this in this location, and that's how you claim it. Now, do they always give everything? No. The most dependent one is the mileage, because that's the one that they know they're tracking, because they are tracking it from your location to the appointment location. There's also times where they do not populate all the appointments you have. So if it's an appointment through community care, those you may have to fill out yourself and create a claim, which it gives you the option to create an appointment, tells you what the location is, starting location, your location, you put what the location is. Most of the time there is a drop down menu which allows you to see what other facilities they know of, because basically if it's something contracted that they know they send you to, it'll be on that list. So in the case for me, my periodontist was like an hour away. It showed up on the system like, hey, this person is an hour away. We already know that this is the established office. This is what we're going to use. Click on that. It highlights it. It creates it. You add the expense. It asks you if you want to challenge it or not, because the thing is, basically, they're going to go off of their best route, which might be the shorter route. You may go the other longer route, which is easier traffic-wise for you. But they're going to go with the shortest route, and that's how they're going to provide you your reimbursement when it comes to that. So keep that in mind when it comes to any trips that you do for medical reasons. You want to make sure that you are filing a beneficiary travel self-service system claim or an appointment claim to get reimbursed at least for mileage. Like I said, they are not going to reimburse you per mile. It's like 42 cents per mile that they reimburse you for, but it's still giving you something back for basically having to go out of your way to attend an appointment for them. So it's not like you're just making an appointment and then going to it and you're not getting reimbursed for it or seeing anything from it. You are seeing some sort of reimbursement because of the fact that it's just like, hey, we know we sent you out here. We know this is not a local location to you, so let's provide you that info so you can have it. So that's always keep in mind. Always make sure to fill those out. It's not much, but hey, it'll help fill up your tank, your gas tank if that's the case. If you're getting $20 for a round trip or $40 for a round trip, that's at least something that you can still provide for your thing. So that's something to always keep in mind when it comes to that. That's something that's available to you as a veteran that is traveling for any appointments. Most of the time, you can even apply for, even if it's community care and the thing is like 3 miles away, you could do it. Is it worth it? No. You might get like 3 cents. You might get like 30 cents or something, like $1 something back. But if it's longer trips where you know it's an extended period of travel, then yes, I always recommend filing that. You'll go through the waiver. You'll go through the amount. They'll take their deductible out at first, and then from there, because remember, some veterans have multiple appointments at certain times and multiple locations. So if you're getting seen for back issues, physical therapy, mental health evaluations, or talking to a therapist and stuff like that, and you got to travel for all that, you can get reimbursed for it as you go. This is the link for the VA forms, and like this is one of the questions I asked on the community. File a disability claim. Nobody knew that it was this form. Well, people did know, but a lot of people were still in question, and they didn't know that it was the easy or just the 526 and stuff like that. So that's what I meant like that. But there's the same thing with the DBQs. The DBQs is just going into it, same thing. So that's we went over the back DBQ. So now if we close that out, we go back to this, we can go to ankle. Most of the time, the ankle, they're most of the time they are the same stuff. Filling these out is not difficult because it's just basically same thing. Name of patient, patient social or ID or vet ID. Usually it's just your social. You just put that in there. Date of examination, veteran claimant, third party, other, whatever the case may be. These are all the different things with your ankles. Linda, I appreciate you. um, and these are all the different things that when it comes to ankle issues. Now, like I said, I'm just using these as an example, because it's basically the back and ankle DBQs are related to each other and they're close to each other, where it's easy for me to show you through the CFR. All these other things, it's all under musculoskeletal. So all of this will fall under the musculoskeletal in the CFR. So all that information will show up in the CFR for that. So that's without a doubt. CFR will explain all that and it will have that information for you when it comes to it. Because if you scroll down here, that's the cervical spine, hip and thigh, knee and leg, and then the ankle. And it goes to that. But when you look at it, these are all the different things that you can have. And then this one is a lot easier because it specifies on both sides. So is it a left injury or a right injury? And you're going down the LCL sprain, deltoid sprain, Achilles tendon rupture, ankle joint replacement, arthritis, the different types of arthritis. What do we got? Gout, bursitis, myosotis. And that's mostly it for that one. But same thing. You go back to the CFR, ankle, 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 ankle. But then it goes further into it, and there's different things that are associated with it. But then at the same time, it's like you're able to search. Remember, you are able to search through the CFR. So if you have any issues, you always can go back. You click on the top of the page, like so here, it'll be right here on the top of the page. You click the top, and you can just search. And you can search for terms, whichever terms are here, you can search for it. So if it's arthritis, search for arthritis. Search for arthritis and you put that there. $12 matches. And then it shows you. But if you go back here, you can just go 12 matches resulting in the CFR. And this is the different ones where you will see that they found the word arthritis in there. Scheduler ratings, musculoskeletal system, scheduler ratings, infectious disease and immune disorders, painful motion, examination, sacroiliac joint, arthritis due to strain, stuff like that. So that's how you provide it, and you can find it through the search options also. So keep that in mind when it comes to searching for any items. You can search for it. Maybe if I put this as fit to screen. Can't make this any larger though. That's the only problem. Because that's the best way of being able to show y'all on mobile. But this will show it. It may be smaller. If it's too small for y'all to see on mobile, let me know. So I'll make it larger again. But basically, that's how you go about it. So the ankle information is all there. It's all there for you to use, and you use it, and you file this in. All the information is there. You're just providing it, and this gives you the ability to look at what else can I file for? What else falls under this issue? Because it's like, yes, you're getting a diagnosis for one specific issue. What else can be tied to this? Because that's how you build better claims. That's how you can build better percentage numbers. Why? Because yes, you have this number one issue. You have the number one issue. What other issues are attributed or tied or coincide with this main issue? Because then if it's like, yeah, if it's a one ankle thing, one ankle thing leads to another ankle thing. Maybe these become secondary issues that you can add on there, or you are providing it as a primary claim also with the issue. And then remember, it asks you to do it for left and right side. So now you're providing information as to left and right side, what issues you're dealing with. Is it on the left side you're dealing with this, and maybe, hey, that injury or whatever is dealing, however your ankles got messed up, you got one issue with your right, you got another issue with your left. You can claim both of those separate things because there's two different things that are there, and those are two different claims, instead of just going about it and just claiming one ankle when you know you have two different ankle issues. But this gives you the ability to see what else is available and what else your doctor can look at and be like, you know what? I did diagnose you with this, but I now realize that it is possible you also have this. So I can diagnose you now with what I know you have and what else you may have that is attributed to the same issue. Now you just doubled your claim. Instead of having that one claim, now you have two claims because your doctor's now realizing what it is they're looking for. Now your doctor has a better way to, how can I put it? It's a better way to visualize the information that you need to provide. Now your doctor knows, it's just like, hey, well, if I'm providing a nexus letter, I can provide a nexus letter stating that 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are attributed to being in the military because of the fact that after this diagnosis, I've diagnosed him since this time. I've noticed that he has had this issue since he got out. He's been complaining about it. It's been over this amount of years, and he's always attributed it to this. And my medical professional opinion is that this was caused by the military service. Now you have extra stuff to run off of. And that's one of those things that a lot of people don't, you got to make that connection. If you're making that connection and you're seeing that, it's the same thing. Like I said, this is all the different DBQs they have. Chronic fatigue syndrome, which is a major one that a lot of people have. Here you go. This one, as you can see, there's nothing tied to it. There's no diagnostic code really for it. Excuse me. But it's there. Because there is chronic fatigue syndrome for veterans. But it's just like evidence reviewed, records review. Please identify the evidence reviewed. Service treatment records, VA treatment records, private treatment records, and the date range. So basically, this is like enhancing your, I would say this is a way to enhance your Nexus letter also. Because the thing is your Nexus letter is basically telling you, hey, this is combined. This is because of this. Okay, now you can show, oh, okay. This is the information I have also. So this is another basically how you're formulating that evidence to throw into your file or your claim also. It's basically having that DBQ filled out by your medical provider, which is explaining in a more in-depth manner. Because remember, the Nexus letter is meant to tie it to military service. They want you to connect that issue. When you are doing it through a DBQ, this is providing more in-depth information as to why they did that. So the Nexus letter is saying, yeah, this was caused by the military. The DBQ is like, this is what I diagnosed them with. This is what I've seen, and this is what I have, and I diagnosed them with, and I've observed from me treating this person. So those issues right there are very large and help and assist with that. And that's the thing. So that's something that you have to keep in mind when it goes to that. That's something you pay attention to. And that's chronic fatigue syndrome. And you can go back when we see eye conditions, eating disorders, mental disorders, which is a big one. And it's just a different form. It gives you the evidence, asks you for the evidence, asks you for history of that. I was just like, for VA rating purposes, check all symptoms that apply to the veteran's diagnosis. What are you dealing with? Is it a depressed mood? Is it anxiety, suspiciousness, panic attacks? Panic attacks more than once a week, near continuous panic or depression affecting the ability to function independently, appropriate or effectively, uh, chronic sleep impairment, mild memory loss, forgetting names, directions, impairment of short and long term memory, flattened effect, circumstantial or circumlocatory or stereotype speech, speech being illogical, difficult in understanding, complex command, impaired judgment. It basically goes down the list of everything that you fall under as a mental health symptom. So this is something, like I said, this is a document that is filled out by your therapist or your counselor or your psychiatrist, however you may want to designate them. This is providing that information. And then it asks for the behavioral observations. This is something that your therapist or something can look at and be like, well, I've spoken to this person about this. I've noticed that they had anxiety, suspiciousness, impaired judgment, spatial disorientation, stuff like that. This is stuff that, as your therapist is noticing it and speaking to you about it, this is stuff that can be added onto this DBQ. Because then it provides an explanation of when it happened, how it's happening, when it's occurring, how often is it occurring. With the spatial disorientation, most of the time you do that while driving. You forget you're driving because you're thinking about something that happened or something while in service or when you were on that mission or whatever the case may be, that you just space out and you're driving and then you're like, oh shit, I'm behind the wheel. Happens to tons of veterans. But stuff like that doesn't get diagnosed as a thing. It's like spatial disorientation is not a mental health how would you say it? It's not one of these codes. So if you go back to the CFR, back to the table of contents, go back down, go to mental disorders. These are the different ones you can claim. These are the different mental health issues you can claim. This one is kind of like the dissociative amnesia, kinda. But the spatial disorientation is not something that is specific to any one of these. You can have this as a symptom for any of these issues. So that's why it's important that when those DBQs are filled out, it's information that your provider is providing that CMP examiner or that VA rater to know. It's just like, okay, this person has dealt with all these different things. Because most of the time when you have that CMP exam with the mental health provider, they're going to ask you these questions. But the thing is this is also a sheet that you can work off of. This is something that you can use to your benefit when it comes to speaking to that CMP examiner. I deal with anxiety. I deal with a depressed mood. I am suspicious when I go into certain places where there's too many people around, and I'm always trying to make sure where the exits are, where the entrances are. That guy looks funny. Why is he wearing a coat? Like stuff like that, things like that go through your mind, and that's something you need to be able to explain. But this form is helping you put those things together, because when they ask you those questions for mental health, it's just like most of the time, most veterans don't know how to explain that. You don't know how to explain, this is what I'm dealing with. These are the effects. This is what's bothering me and stuff like that. Because most of the time you go to a therapist and you just go to talk, and they analyze. You're not there for the analysis. You don't know how to analyze yourself. That's why you're there trying to seek help. But if you have this allows you to speak on these things that you deal with when it comes to the CMP examination. So literally you have all this difficulty in complex commands, impaired abstract thinking, impaired judgment, chronic sleep impairment. You can't sleep. Most people just attribute it to insomnia. But then it might not be insomnia. It just might be an impairment where you just can't sleep, which does turn into insomnia. But that's still something that now we can diagnose you for that also. We can diagnose you for insomnia. It's still going to be the same mental health rating. But at the same time, it's just like you have the ability to be like, you know what? Okay, I didn't see it this way. I didn't associate it that way. Now that I can associate these things, I can talk about it in a better manner. Like, oh, This is the issue I'm having with. This is the problem I have. This is what I'm seeing. If you're able to do that, it's easier for you to go to a CMP examiner and have a better and stronger claim for your claim because of the fact that it's just like you're able to do that. You're able to do that and you're able to show like, hey, okay, these are all the issues I deal with. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder or adjustment disorder or PTSD. And these are the different things that I deal with that show. And this is why they diagnosed me with this. They diagnosed me because I have these panic attacks. I've had panic attacks here. I've had panic attacks there. Sometimes this causes my panic attacks. Sometimes I just randomly have a panic attack. You spoke on that. Then the next thing is just like, what other ones are there? Let's see. Disturbances of motivation and mood. I was like, most of the time you're motivated, but now all of a sudden you're not as motivated. You have issues with completing tasks. That's a big thing. But the thing is when you go to talk about it, you don't say that. That's not the first thing that comes to mind because you're not thinking about that. You're just waiting on the questions that are going to be asked of you. You're not thinking, how do I actually explain these issues? And you can have this and just jot it down. Have a little notebook or have something basically explaining the different issues that you have and basically put that on paper. Put it in paper. All these symptoms that you have here, just put them in paper. Put them on a paper. Jot down when they happen, how they happen. When the CMP examiner, that health evaluation, that mental health evaluation CMP happens, you have a list of, hey, look, these are all the things I know I deal with. These are all the things that caused them, how they were caused by the military, or the first instance of it happening in the military. Or just like, yeah, I've had the suspiciousness ever since my deployment, where I can't go anywhere without being suspicious of anything or anyone. Why does it happen? Well, we went on in this mission and this mission caused this, and that. And we saw this, I saw that. We were in this location and so you explain all of that and you give an in-depth analysis of why it is you're suspicious. Now they can attribute it to, well, yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory that it did happen and it was caused by the military because you now explained why you have this issue and how it was created by the military. Because what a lot of people fail to forget, they tend to forget that when you're dealing with all these issues, the issues are coming from the military. That's the thing that people forget in the back of their head. This is happening because of the military. It's not happening because it's just happening. The military caused this. And that's where a lot of people lose on a lot of it because they forget the military part. A lot of people talk about how it's affecting them on a daily basis, but they forget to mention how the military caused it to become a daily issue. So if you're saying you have everything I just explained right now, if I don't mention anything about the military, you may just be dealing with this for some other reasons. And that's the easy go-to button for the VA. Well, it's just like, well, nothing that you said you attributed to the military. So it's kind of hard to say, oh, I did this, I dealt with that, and just like, but you disregarded everything with the military. You got to make sure you're tying that in so that way they understand. It was just like, this was caused because of the military. I get panic attacks because of the military, because when I do this, or I'm in this location, or I go into these kind of environments and stuff like that, this is what caused it. This is why I have this issue. This is why. And when you put those things together, it's just like, oh, okay, now you just painted the picture for that CMP examiner. And that's the one thing I was speaking to, and I speak to a lot of veterans. It's, you have to paint the picture for the VA to understand. The VA, it's funny and like frustrating at the same time, because like the VA act like they don't know what the hell you're talking about. Plain and simple. The VA will act like, bro, what is this guy talking about? What is he insinuating? What is he going towards? What is he trying to get across? That's how the VA operates. If you are not telling the VA this is why it happened, this is how it happened because of the military, the VA it's easy to just say, oh, it's not service connected. Look, you gave me a great explanation of what the issues are, but you didn't explain how the military did that to you. And that's how the VA looks at it. You didn't you dealing with all these things, but nowhere did you say the military caused it or there was a military instance that caused this issue. When you get to that point, that's when it's just like the VA is just like, well, this is an easy denial. I could just deny this because you know why? There's nothing specific on there. There's nothing stating military did this or I got this injury because of the military. I'm filing this disability claim because this is the reason why. And that's what you forget. But like I said, these DBQs are there for a reason. And it's just like all of these are there. There's all different sorts of ones. Remember, not every single claim that you are going to try to put is on one of these DBQs. If you have something that's close to it or resorts to it, I would say, hey, check out the DBQs, see what's available, and see if it ties into what you're trying to file a claim for. Because remember, in the CFR, there's over 3,000 different claims. It's over 3,000 of them. You go and it's just like numerical index of disabilities. It goes from 5,000 all the way to 9,918. Mind you, there's missed numbers. They skip some because remember, some of those diagnosis codes were there, and as they keep on updating the CFR, they get removed. So you will see in certain spots where it says removed. But in this one, it just basically gives you the breakdown of what they are with those ones removed already out. So like migraine, 8,100. Tick, 8,103. Narcolepsy, 8,108. And this will give you the thing where you could just literally go down the list and it'll tell you. It's broken down by how they have those symptoms done, but it's there. And it gives you all that information, gives you all the numbers. These are all the different things you can claim. Like I said, you're not going to fall into every single item and be able to claim every single item. That's not going to happen. But there's a lot of them that you probably do have that you don't realize you can actually claim. And that's what a lot of people need to do it. So it's just like, hey, man, it's just basically like back, still like when we were in the service. Get to the basics. Got to learn the fundamentals. We got to learn the fundamentals. Veterans need to be explained and taught the fundamentals of filing the VA claim. Not do this and do that and you'll get 100%. No, let's go back to the fundamentals, because if you get the fundamentals and the basics correct on filing a disability claim, you are going to be successful in your claims. Not just going off of somebody said do this and do that, because it doesn't always fit your criteria. You may not have all those issues that they talk about to get you to 100%. But if you know the basics of what you can file, what you can claim, how to go about claiming it, do I file an increase? Do I file it as a secondary? Stuff like that. If you know those basics, you'll be able to file and get to 100% faster than by going off of somebody telling you, oh, I filed for this and then that connected to this and that connected to that. Because most of the time, what that leads me to start thinking is just like a lot of veterans are just lying to get their benefits, which is where that fraud comes into. Because it's just like, hey, if you have all this stuff that just happens to be tied into this one thing that you just had, you never had issues before, but it's second, it starts looking kind of questionable. Now, if you have certain issues, you have those issues, you claim them. But you just can't start making a whole bunch of stuff up to do it and then be scared of just like, you know what, I ain't filing no more because my shit might get reduced. I was like, yeah, your shit might get reduced. Why? Because you were lying in the first place. If you ain't lying about nothing, you have nothing to worry about. It was just like over time, your shit is going to get worse. So it's maybe you don't start off at 100%. Maybe you work your way up. There's tons of veterans that you see and hear about. It took me 10 plus years. It took me 15 plus years. All this amount of time. But I bet you most of these people didn't use a DBQ. Most of these people didn't use any other forms. Like, hey, I have which one? The statement for PTSD. That is VA form 21-0781. Ain't nobody going to be able to tell me that off the top of their head. That's for PTSD connection. That's the statement for PTSD connection. Then you have the one that's PTSD caused by a traumatic assault, whether sexual in manner or not. That is something that you can claim, but that is a separate document that you fill out. Most of the time, when it comes to PTSD and you claiming it, they are going to tell you, hey, I need you to provide this document. I need you to prepare that 21 0781. The PTSD secondary to assault, that's 21 0781A. And it's just like when you start breaking down all these numbers and all these letters, it's just like, bro, how do you know all this? It was just like, well, I'm building a database to make sure we can get this information out to people, because most people have no idea. Most people now that are filing have no idea that these DBQs are now public. And that just happened, I believe it was 2021, that you were able to start using these DBQs and be filled out by your medical professional. And it wasn't just filled out by the VA. Because before it was just the VA that was providing you this. Now you have the ability to do, hey, you know what? I could do it this way. Then you have this. If filing through a benefits delivery at discharge or integrated disability evaluation system, you must complete the separation health assessment DBQ. And what is this? This is for all those service members that are just recently getting out. Thing is 16 pages long. But look, updated October 17th, 2024. So it tells you when the last update was. But here it goes, a breakdown. List your current medications. Then it goes through there. Ear, nose, and or nose, throat trouble, all that. Giving you a breakdown that's just like, hey, what do you have issues with? What's bothering you? What do we have to look for that we have to conduct a CMP exam on? What may be possible claims you do? And then just go, are you currently still having, well, that's for women, post-traumatic stress disorder screen. Had nightmares about the events or thoughts about the event when you did not want to? Yes or no? Tried hard not to think about it? Yes or no? Been constantly on yes or no? And you just answer that and you're providing this. Space for additional responses. And now you're submitting that document. Submitted that document. There you go. Guidance for separation assessment DBQ. It gives you a breakdown of how to fill this. But keep in mind, this is the one used for active duty service members leaving the military through the BDD, which is the Benefits by Delivery program. So this is just information that basically like, hey, how do I fill this out? Pretty short, huh? For like about 16 pages worth of document. There's 16 pages and they give you 8 pages summarized to fill it out. So that's always, hey, you have to make sure that you are doing your homework on there. But yeah, that's for separation. Like I said, we went over the PTSD one. We went over chronic fatigue syndrome. Went over ankle. And like I said, there's all of these are available to you to use. These are all documents that are there. These are all documents that are useful. These are all documents that you can use and you will benefit from by obtaining the information and using the information. Like I said, it may be that you're going at this alone. You may be going through a VSO. You may be going through a claims entity agent, wherever, however it is that you're doing it and getting it done. It was just like, you probably want one of these filled out by your medical professional. You're going to want that nexus letter, that buddy statement or statement letter, which is the personal statement, which is VA form 21-4138. So now if we go back to this and we go back to the VA forms, we can put personal statement. And then it gives you the different options, because that's the one thing that I'm not a big fan of when it comes to the VA find a form through the VA, because this thing gives you a list of all sorts of shit. So look, there's 6 different things of statement if you put personal statement. So this is a statement of person claiming to have stood in relation of parent. Statement of support of claim. the one I just mentioned. So you click on that, and it gives you the download PDF. So you go here and download it. I already have it, but that's something that I'm gonna provide on there so that you have a link also resource. So it's gonna be, hey, this is the form. This is what the form does. This is the link to download it. You can download it from there, and you'll get that information that way. Then it gives you the related forms and instructions, because sometimes some of these forms are there and some of these forms benefit you and some don't. Some of them are related to it and some are not. Like the PTSD one. You have the one that is for a traumatic case, then you have PTSD just because of the PTSD. So it's two different things. Just one was an instance you either saw or around or aware of. One could have been off of an assault or a personal attack on your person, and that's where you have the PTSD from also. So those are things you could do, but those are two different forms. Then this one is a lay or witness statement. And look at the different in numbers. So you had 21-4138, which is provide additional information to support your claim. And then a lay and witness statement, which is to submit a formal statement to support your VA claim or the claim of another veteran or eligible family member. People also sometimes call this a buddy statement, which it is the buddy statement letter. 21-10210. Why ain't these closer in number? I was just like, you have your own claim statement, and this one is for a buddy statement or witness statement, which is either from a veteran, a family member, or somebody you know that can do this. And look at the difference in numbers. It goes from 21-4138 to 21-10210. We're not going to memorize these. This is the Freedom of Information Act or Privacy Act request. 10206, which is closer for a request of information, is closer to the statement than it is to the actual statement you provide. Then you have the priority processing request. Request priority processing for your claim due to certain qualifying circumstances or status. Closer in number, but you see what I'm saying? The numbers aren't there. Like I said, it's like military building installations where this is building 1, the one next to it is building 500, and then the next one is like 3,000 or 2,000 something, and then you go back to number 2. Who decided to do that within the military? I'm still trying to find out where they provide this information at. Who was in charge when it came to numbering the buildings? That is the real question. Or one of the many questions you have to ask on a military installation. But this is just for statement of support of claim. But like I said, look at all the different. So statement in support of claimed mental health disorder due to an in-service traumatic event. 21-70781. But then right here, instead of being able to give you that secondary one, which is the A, because this is 21-0781, they don't have the next one as the 21-0781A, which is basically due to a. Hold on. So now let's go to this one and click on it. It just gives you that information. So this one they know is used more. So they give you a bigger explanation when to use the form. We recommend submitting this PDF and stuff like that. Then income and asset statement in support of claim, 21P. Financial statement, lay and witness statement, which is the same one when we click there, basically an additional form. And then you can keep on going down the list. Some of these you cannot click on because they're out of date or they don't use them anymore. And they don't have like a designated page to actually give you the proper information as to what they do. Supplemental statement of the case. Veteran patient statement, supplemental statement, research advisory group, Let's see. Life insurance statement, like anything that has statement in it, they will try to put it on here. Is it in numerical order? As you can see, no. The numbers just fluctuate. Well, some of it does look like it's in order, but then it's just like it's depending on how it is. Because you have a 10 dash something here, but then you have a 10 dash something up here too. Then it goes to 29 something. So sort by closest match, but then it gives you the availability to check. And if you want to do closest match, if you want to do ascending, so if it's an ascending going up in number, it'll give you the claims going up in number. So with the first one, it starts off with the 10, and then you can do it that way, and you can look it up there. But as you can see, these are all different forms that most people don't know. Oh, Annette becoming a member. Appreciate you, Annette. She just tuned in and checked into the recruit. Just to let y'all know what the perks. Basically, if you are a member, a recruit, any person that's a member, you basically get access to videos early. You get the information early. You always get the first replies and stuff like that. When it comes to comments or anything on the thing. As the tiers go up, is like little smaller things. As we finish up our website and we finish up like the merchandising page where we have it on, we have it through YouTube right now, but we are trying to see if we make it on our own kind of thing, make a thing. So we did come out with the my bad, I forgot my veteran hat t-shirt. And we also have the veteran awareness t-shirt. This is just like the Just Cruise one. This is this is like one of the first shirts I made. It's off to the side a bit more than it should be. Don't get me wrong. I was just trying to stuff out. Heat press and all that stuff is a very interesting craft, I will say. But once you become a member, I'll start earning discounts towards shopping towards merchandise. But that'll be once I try to make it so that I'm not a big fan of these prices that all these big organizations try to charge. I was like, look, I don't want to pay $25 for a t-shirt unless it's great quality. I'm not paying $25 for a t-shirt. So I'm trying to make it so that I can outsource it myself, so that maybe I can just charge $15 or something for a t-shirt and still try to make some profit off of it from a t-shirt, but do it from at home, send it to you, be able to ship it to you in a specific like packaging or something like that. Something, creative that'll make it so that I really appreciate you supporting the channel. And Annette, thank you as always. But yeah, those are things that is just, it's like that. But when it comes to these forms, it's just like, you got so many forms through the VA. This is just what shows up through here. The one thing that I think I would love to have through the VA form thing, just to search is like how they had it. If you ever went to like the DoD site for like DoD forms or something like that, it was simple numeration. It was a simple numeration when it came to DoD forms, because it just basically stated and told you like, hey, numbers 0 through 1,000, DD form 1 through 1,000, click here. Then you went down the list and you can see all those different ones. And you saw the information, you saw everything that was different. It's just like, okay, I see this now. There's no option for that here. There's no option for that through the VA. See, because it's like if you go to DoD form, search DoD form, see, look at the breakdown. I was just talking about it too, but now you can see what I was talking about. This is something that I think the VA needs to start putting into it, or formulating it, or doing something like that, because that's what I plan to do with mine. The thing is I'm going to try to see if I can categorize it better, so that way when a veteran is looking for a form, if I can categorize it like, hey, this is disability stuff. Okay, now click on this. These are all the forms that have to do with filing a disability claim. These are the forms for requests. requests like that, like something like that, something to break it down that allows you to see all the forms and gives you the thing. That's going to take a while to put all these forms in there, but I've already started making a list where it's basically I'm making the list of the forms, I'm saving the forms onto file, and then from there on the website it's going to be a form. It's going to paint it for you. You're going to have that picture. Okay, there's the form, this is what it is. I can download it like that. And that's the plan to do it. The thing is like I said, look, the DD forms go from 1 through 34.99. But if you click on it, let's see, it gives you that breakdown of what it is. Plain and simple. Edition date, controlled, yes or no. Basically, if you can have access to it or not. OPR, basically where it's the operating component. And it gives you the list. You can just click on it. So Salty says the VS is the best it's ever been, but it is still far from perfect from being truly friendly. Salty, I do agree. The issue I have with the VA site, like the VA site has all the information you need. The thing is just like we need to find a better way of breaking down the information so that veterans can actually get to it faster. That's where, because the thing is the best option is to go through the search option. That is usually the best option. Go to search and search for something. But like the thing is everything is just like so, there's so much information that is just like, where do I get all this information? Where do I find this information? And that, like you said, the user-friendly part is the part that is the toughest. And I think it would make it easier on it if like, hey, let's revamp this site so that it is more user-friendly. Let's make it so that, hey, these are the things that veterans usually ask for. Like, let me see, if I go to the bottom, is there like, it needs to be organized better. And that's the biggest thing. Like, look, this is one thing that I'm working on. Frequently asked questions. There's none of that on the VA site. I'm looking at the bottom. I was just like, I'll show you here. Oh, it doesn't let me show the bottom of the page. I can't scroll down for some reason, which is weird. But if you go to the VA site, there's no frequently asked questions section. You get the VA updates. There's no frequently asked questions. Now, as a service member, as a veteran, if you're the VA, you always get certain questions. Why not highlight that at the beginning? Because look, if you go here, it's just like, check your VA. This is what pops up, top of the page. Check your claim, review payment history, file for disability, schedule, refill, compare, get mental health, review updates, get reimbursed, get your medical records. Why do you think I made the video for disability compensation? That's one of the reasons I made that video. That's the reason I've made the video the past 3 years. Or the past 2 years. No, I think it's 3. It's been 3 years since I've made the disability compensation video. That's why I've made that video. Because of the fact that I know if you go to the va.gov site, it is going to be a mission to find out how much money you are going to make. Because you can go here. Then you go to disability. Then if you go here, it doesn't say anything about it. You got to go to view all in disability. Then you go from view all in disability to get VA. This is how to file it. This is manage it. Information and resources. Then I got to click here. Then it takes me to the current rates and stuff like that. And this is the page. Then I got to click on veterans disability. You see what I'm saying? Like, bro, what? Dude, just like, this is something that you know veterans are going to ask for. How much is it am I going to make? What is it looking like for next year? what are my paychecks going to look like month to month next year? That's why I made the video on the disability rates, because it's just like, this was information I was looking for. This was information that I could not find without going through, what was it? What did I just go through? 4 or 5 different clicks just to get it. And then I got to click some more to find the rates. And I did have a question from somebody, and they were asking for the caregiver rates. The caregiver rates are done differently. And that's one thing that I was trying to find through the VA site, like the caregiver compensation. So let's see if we just search it. Caregiver compensation. Benefits for family and caregivers, benefits for family and caregivers. So disability compensation, caregiver support program, caring for care. Because if you click on this one, there's a whole different damn site. This is through the VA news. This isn't even through va.gov anymore. It is va.gov, but it's the news part. April 2023. That's out of date. Top recommendations is this one. And here we go. Caregiver education, home loan, life insurance, all that. As a spouse or dependent child of a veteran service, you may qualify for certain benefits, including health care, life insurance, or money for school. As a survivor of a veteran service member, you may qualify for added benefits, including help with burial costs and survivor compensation. And then it just goes into health and disability benefits, survivor compensation, but that's the indemnity compensation or the survivor's pension. That's funny. Recently, I was looking for rates info, and the site redirected me to eBenefits, which redirected me back again to the VA. And trust me, that's why I made that video. Because it was just like, man, unless you bookmark that on your thing to make sure that you can just click on it and go back to it, which most people don't think to do, I was just like, let me just make a video for people that if they search on YouTube 2025 disability rates, because everybody else talks about it. Oh, you're gonna get this percentage, but nobody actually shows you in depth as to what you're gonna get. So I was just like, let me provide this for veterans, where it's just like, hey, this is how much the veteran is gonna make alone. This is how much the veteran is gonna make with one dependent, 2 dependents, 1 parent, no parent, like stuff like that, and just have it so that you can see it visually, listen to a nice little music in the background and stuff like that, but at least do it so that way people can find it easier if they just search through YouTube, or just, hey, you can share it to somebody else that's been looking for it, and now they at least have a video that they can see it. You can just skip in between it and see what you have to watch and watch what you have to watch. I took advice from the previous videos where people were telling me, hey man, the thing is like running up and then it just like, it starts fading away right away. So I don't even get to, it doesn't last long. I got to like pause the video. So I was like, okay, let me just make a longer video, which gives time in between each thing. Then I had some people complain that it was just like, oh, it's too long. I was just like, bro, you can fast forward. It was like, at least the information is there so you can see it, and it's not like being erased and stuff like that. So I just went off of what people were telling me, and it helps. So, but like I said, for this, it's just like health benefits. Then it just goes to some different items. Program of assistance for caregivers. How to apply for this program? Apply for caregiver assistance. The support. Learn more about the VA. You have to fall into it, but then, like I said, nowhere does it say how much they would get paid, because it is calculated by a certain amount. I think it's like they said it. I think it was like government. The GS job step 4 part 1 or thing 1 level 1. That's what they start that at. I'm gonna go when I initially started on this one. Your videos have been insanely helpful. Better. Hey, Salty. It's the thing is what I haven't been doing a lot lately is I don't make I haven't made a lot of videos. I've been working on it and making like a list of videos that I'm going to make so that next year, start of the year, there's gonna be videos doing all these tutorials. The thing is I rather do these lives, which most of the time I know it's Sunday, people are watching football or people are at church. I understand it's not a good time, but the thing is this is the time that's available to me while I'm going to school, dealing with the family, and doing all these other things. It's just like this is something that, like, you coming onto the channel live, you can ask a question, you can make a statement, I can highlight the statement, I can put it up on the screen. Anybody else that tunes in can see that. And I'm recording those snippets so that if somebody has a question, I'm going to have those snippets and I'm going to make videos out of that. So it's just like, hey, question asked by so and so, and here's the answer, and that's the video that I'm making, and I'll post that also. So the thing is it's so much easier to communicate with veterans live because you can ask a question and I can show you directly where it is. I can show you directly where the information is. I can show you the resource where it's from. It's not it's hard for me to answer questions because I notice a lot of people may not watch the workshops after they've already been posted. But the thing is if you were to leave a question, I at least know to go to it. But if you're on live, you can ask a question. I'm gonna get you that answer. The whole thing is to make sure veterans are aware. That's why it's the awareness project, veteran awareness project, so that you are aware and notified of what's going on, what your answers are, and how to better benefit you to get your benefits and guide you towards the benefits you earned. And it's just like a lot of channels, it's like, look, I appreciate all the veterans channels that are out there when it comes to that, when it comes to helping veterans. The thing is some channels are not educating veterans properly, and they're just trying to scheme them to get results. I figured it's just like, hey, while we were in service, the same way, what did they always try to ingrain into you? The fundamentals, the basics. If you get the fundamentals and the basics from there, you can go and expand from there. And it's just like that's the thing. It's just like we have to get back to the fundamentals of the VA. The problem is that with all this, like I said, we were just going over VA forms, all these different, like the DBQs. People don't know about the DBQs. People don't know about all these forms. People don't know to search for certain things. People don't know to submit a lot of these claims. But it's just like we need to get back to the basics of the VA and teaching veterans what they need to do to be successful in their claims. Not just, hey, file for this and secondary this, secondary that, secondary this, and hey, you'll get to 100. No, that doesn't work for everybody. It's, hey, how can I assist everybody in the same way? But I'm not trying to teach you how to scheme the system. I'm trying to teach you how to do and use the system how it's meant to be used so that your time is valuable. It sucks. It sucks when I talk to veterans and I see veterans posting just like, I've been working on this for like 15 years. I finally got to 100%. That's a long fucking time to be trying to deal with anything. 15 years to get 100%, that's crazy. But at the same time, how much information did that veteran know within those 15 years? Did they know about the Nexus letter? Did they know about buddy statements? Did they know about certain forms? Did they know all the different things that they can claim with their disability? No. Most of the time, they have no idea what's going on. Most of the time, it's information that they're just like, you know what? Oh, shit, I ain't even think of that. And that's what I've caught. The amount of veterans that I've hit with that, and they'd be like, oh, shit, that didn't even cross my mind. The amount of veterans that I have gotten with that they're just like, oh shit, I didn't even think to write that in a statement. I didn't even think to put this in a statement. A DBQ, what's a DBQ? Nexus letter, what's a Nexus letter? What? And you're just like, wow. So then it's just like, okay, if we educate veterans how to do these claims and fill out their stuff better from the beginning, that time lessens. we lessen that backlog so that people can get their claims in and get seen more. We lessen the need for having all these extra C&P examinations or all these extra things you need to basically make sure that your claim is actually going through correctly. I was just like, once we start putting all that stuff together, it's just like, you know what? This made my life a lot easier. And I was just like, hey, if this channel helped you, I appreciate you. Like, subscribe. That's all it is. I don't ask for anything else. Filed my new claim July 29th of this year, still on step 5 of 8, the rating step. Last updated September 10th. I never knew I could use buddy letters or anything else. You're currently yeah. And that's the thing. It's just like most people don't know that information. And that's why I like doing these lives, because it's just like when a person makes a statement like that, then it's just like, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? And the thing is sometimes it sparks an idea in their head, and then sometimes they just like you I can only imagine the amount of times I get like the deer in headlights look when I tell somebody. I just like, I can't see it because I'm on camera, but I can only imagine the face that a person puts like, oh shit, I could do that. It was just like, I can only imagine the amount of times and the amount of expressions that people. I wish I could just like, I could take like a picture of people like when they said that, when I tell them something and just be like that shocked face, like, are you what? But it's like all those buddy letters, all those statements, all that contributes to you doing it. Like I tried to explain, like that video I made, that it was just like the not thinking. We got to change the way we're thinking when we're processing claims. When a veteran is filing a disability claim, you have to start looking at it. It was just like, I don't care for all these other channels where it's just like their gimmicks to get to 100. No, do the shit the right way. The same way. It's like we went through all this in the military, y'all. It's just like all that military, like I know we got tired of it. Some of us hated being in there. Some of us got out and stuff like that. It's still the same thing. You do shit the right way the first time, you're not redoing it again. When you emptied out that Connex and you just threw that shit back in there, what happened? PL platoon sergeant came outside, saw that shit, but like, yo, what the fuck is this? Hey, bro, I'm gonna need y'all to take all this shit out and I need y'all to organize it again. Now, if we would have organized it the first time in the first place and put it back how it's supposed to, that PL and platoon sergeant would have came back out and they'd be like, you know what, good job, go home. But then otherwise, it's like, nah, y'all staying late now till whenever the hell. When y'all finish this, y'all can go home after. It's the same thing with the VA disability claims. You have to be able, without a doubt, to have your documentation and your paperwork and give it to somebody you don't know, and they should be able to tell you what's wrong with you. If you can't do that, your claim ain't strong enough. That's the way I looked at it. That's the way I looked at it when it came to filing mine, so I got my 100% P&T. I need to make sure I got all my ducks in a row and everything, so that when I provide this C&P examiner or this VA rater sees my documentation, he's going to be like, without a doubt, this dude got this. It was like back issues, without a doubt. Here's his nexus. Here's his thing. I didn't need the nexus letters because I did it through there, but I was for my new claim, instead of paying for one of those BS nonprofit ones that have vets file everything under the sun, even if it doesn't apply to them. So that's one of the other reasons I do this, Salty, is because I don't like those nonprofits. I'm not gonna say I don't like those nonprofits, because some of those organizations, they do mean well by assisting veterans, but then you're also preying on veterans at the same time. Because as you can see, all this information is free. Everything I've shown on live today is free. Nobody had to pay for any of this. You tuned in, whoever's tuned in, stopped by, checked in. Annette becoming a member, because I had a consultation. Annette became a member today, and I had a consultation with her like a couple of weeks ago. That was my first like consultation I ever did. Which was free, because it was just like I was just testing it out, but it was just like, hey, if somebody wanted, she reached out and she was like, can I get more assistance? And I was like, sure, no problem. I was just like, and that one I did for free. We're still working on that because we got to make like a documentation. I'll push that out when it's solidified. But it's just like, this is all free information. This is all, if the va.gov site was a bit friendlier, user friendlier, which would find people easier ways to find this information, they would just use that. You wouldn't need one of those entities. Now, if it's a VA attorney or a lawyer, I definitely suggest using those if you need them. In that case, yes. But if it's one of these entities that it's like they're consulting and stuff like that, look, if they are asking for a percentage of whatever over a certain amount of time or something, I was just like, bro, what? I was like, look, bro, you can give me $200. If I went and I increased your rating from fucking 10% to like 90, you're making over $1,500+ more than what you were before. I'm not going to tell you got to pay me like 20% of that monthly for like a certain, that's crazy. You give me a one-time fee, I assisted you. Hey, if you want to continue to help out the channel or something with what I assist you with, you can become a member. And that's like what? The smallest one is what? $1. Then we got like a $4 one, a $10 one, and like the $25 one, which I don't expect anybody to do that one, but it's per month. I was just like, you paying me $1 per month for the rest of your life, or for the rest of this channel being operating. And I still won't get to what you earned in what I increased you. So it's just like, it's just crazy to me to like, because it's all free information. This is all here. Just that this va.gov site is crazy. I was like, look how I searched for a VA form. And I can't even find the direct one unless I know specifically what I'm asking for. And that's the thing. And that's one of the reasons why I made this channel. Because when I was going through it, I went through the BDD process, the benefits by delivery of discharge process, to file this stuff. But I knew a year ahead. I was just like, you know what? I'm calling it quits. I'm going to get out. I was just like, I know these people going to offer me that SARM first class, but I'm going to have to re-enlist for it. I'm good. I'm good. I'll be on my way. I was only at 10 years when I got out. And I would have had my SARM first class before that if it weren't for the COVID shit. So I would have had it at probably like 8 years. I would have gotten close to 7 at 7 or 7 at 8. Then COVID hit, shut down everything. And I was just like, fuck it, whatever. I'm out. Decided I was getting out. And it was just like, what do I need to know to prepare myself to have a plan? Because that's what you always hear. Make sure you have a plan when you're getting out. My plan was like, hey, I got my disability check. I'm going to file for it. What do I need to file for? How do I file for it? Because the bullshit damn program that they have, that Soldier for Life program that they give you, is trash. That shit does not explain enough, and it does not give you enough information for you to have a valid and reasonable outcome. Go to this site, create a logon, go on to this part. They'll show you, click on these 4 different links, get here, file disability claim. Go through the process, fill everything out. And then from there, you're just like, what else do I do? Then from there, they don't mention anything about a buddy letter or your own personal statement that you can actually do. That's one that a lot of people don't even know. You can file your own statement. Your own personal statement you can file to support your claim. And most people have no idea what the hell that is. I could do that. And it's just like, I was like, wow, all this information I got off after 5 years. My unit tried convincing me to stay in by offering me sergeant. Turned it down. They said, good luck, no hope or direction about filing a claim. They don't. And that's the thing. That's why I wish I can reach out more to active duty personnel. The thing is a lot of the people that this channel reaches is just veterans. But the thing is I've had a couple of active duty people come in and tune in and they ask me questions. It's just like, I need to educate you, because the thing is you're going to deal with this when you're getting out. But if you already have your ducks in a row, you know what that does? That saves veterans that are still dealing with the process time. And people don't realize that. If I'm educating military active duty personnel on their way out, that means they will have fully developed claims, they will have their BDD process done, and that will take away usage from people that are fighting for years to get their claims done. Why? Because if you're getting out of the military and you have a fully developed claim and all your stuff is lined up and everything, that means you're gonna submit your claim, get your claim done, and you're not going to interfere with these people that have been struggling when it comes to reviews, that have been waiting years or whatever the case. That gives it lessens the burden on the VA if you're educating people when they're getting out or before they get out. The thing is they don't want to educate you on that because it's just like, bro, they know you can do better on the outside. We can't tell you that. We don't want you to know that. Oh, just like, you know what that is? That you can be a PV shit, anything that's not an NCO. And if you got yourself injured or got all this stuff and all this documentation, all that stuff, you making more than you were making while you were serving off of your disability check, which is tax free. Because while you were in service, you were paying yourself with your own taxes. Then you got the VRE program. You got the GI Bill. You got all this stuff that can help you, but you have to have a plan. But they don't show you that. All they tell you is just like, man, it's rough out there. It was like, it's hard for you to survive as a veteran. I was just like, why is it that I see all these veterans in a better mood, doing well and all that? Why? Because they had a plan and they started using the resources that were available to them. I was just like, if you have the discipline and learn the discipline, it's not that hard. It's just knowing what you need to do. The same way, it was just like, that's what people need to attribute it to. It's, we did this shit in service. We did all this in service. When something happened, what did you go to? The regulations. It was just like, if every service member knew they could do better outside the military, yeah, they wouldn't re-up. They wouldn't. So that's not something that the military would want to push out. The thing is that it's not that you can always do better, because you can do great things in the military. The problem is that if you're not providing a good enough experience where it's worthwhile to stay in the military, if that person educates themselves on their way out, they're going to be better off outside. But the thing is if you're providing a great atmosphere and stuff like that, where it's good, people are learning, people actually enjoy being in the service, people re-up. Sometimes people just re-up because it's like, shit, I ain't got no plan. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do outside. And that's why they re-up. For others, it's just like, man, I love these people. I love the military. I love the opportunities I've gotten. I'll re-up. But when you get screwed over, you deal with shitty leadership. You see leadership doing shit that they aren't supposed to, but they don't get no repercussions, or accountability isn't there. But for the lower enlisted, it is. When people start seeing that, it's just like, bro, I don't want to be a part of this and grow into this machine. I was just like, if they're going to take care of me, and most of the time, most of these leaders ain't doing that. That's why you have people not re-upping. But those units that you see that they have great leadership and stuff like that, what do they have? They got numbers. They got people re-upping. There's no, it's like the military makes it like it's a damn, some mystique around it. Like, I don't even know how the hell they do it. Like, how does this unit do it? They take care of their soldiers. They take care of their people. That's the biggest thing. You take care of your soldiers, you take care of your people. That changes everything. See, look, I didn't even have to. That was me just talking, and you provided that information. Like, I got out because my unit treated us terribly. Had they treated myself and peers better, a lot more. I know this. Like I said, I served in the military for 10 years. I was an NCO for 7 out of those 10 years. I was a staff sergeant for 5 years out of those 10 years. I could have gotten my SAR first class if it weren't for COVID stopping classes and them changing it to this whole new OML system and all this nonsense. I would have had my 7 and 7. COVID hit, all the restrictions, all that stuff, the changes. I was like, you know what? I should have been promoted by now. And that bothered me a lot because it's just like, damn, that's 3 years I could have been a sergeant first class, and I would have been looking at master sergeant at my 10th or 11th year. Which is crazy to say. But I was just like, that was my outlook. I was just like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do the 20. Then you get into a situation where you have leadership that's just trash. You have leadership that doesn't actually develop you. You're developing them. You're showing them how to do stuff. And it was just like, you're supposed to be training me. I'm not supposed to be training you. But then I'm not getting the rewards or the accolades or the awards or anything. I'm not getting the great NCOERs. You're the one that's getting all this stuff, but I'm the one that's doing all the work. And then when you voice it, you're the problem. You're the one that becomes an issue because now you're voicing like, hey, man, why ain't I being taken care of? Why am I not being sent to these classes? Why am I not taking this? Why am I not given this opportunity to do this program or to do this whatever? And it's just like they don't realize that. It was just like, if you're providing soldiers that information, you're providing soldiers that leadership and that mentoring, and you actually taking care of people. That's what respects people. That's what people respect in the military. When they actually take care of you. I took care of all my soldiers. I got people still reaching. I've been out of the military for 2 years. I had 2 years in 2 days. I still have people calling me, asking me for advice. They ain't doing that with bad leadership. A lot of people see what I'm doing with this channel, just trying to advise veterans like, hey, how do you go about filing? How do you go about processing this? How do you go with that? It was just like, it's simple. Teach them, make them know they are valuable. Each member of your team is valuable. No matter if they're the weakest link or the strongest link, they are still valuable. Mentor them, teach them, show them the things, show them that there's many ways to doing stuff, and appreciate what their knowledge is, because you don't know it all. But the thing is people don't get treated like that. People go into situations where it's just like, there's kiss asses up above, they kiss ass, they just want to kiss ass. I was just like, oh, gotta make sure this slide is green, gotta make sure this is green. I don't care about this. Oh, you gotta work late? Oh, that's too bad for you. Like, bro, we've been working late the whole damn week because you didn't give out information at the beginning of the day. You waited till the end of the day. We would have had all this shit done if you would have said it in the morning. You knew about it in the morning, but you were somehow so busy that you could not provide this information or delegate to somebody else to be like, hey, this is what needs to get done. That's a lack of leadership. That's a lack of management skills. But people get promoted and get put into those positions, and then soldiers are the ones that get hurt for it. Remember, the soldiers are the ones doing all the work. I was just like, you got these officers, and officers be always saying this and saying that. Nothing against all officers, but some of y'all are just like, y'all don't do none of the heavy lifting. Y'all just give the orders. The soldiers are doing it. I was just like, because I've seen a lot of things also. It's just like, a lot of officers just like, oh, so people shouldn't get all these VA benefits and all this stuff. I was like, I was like, bro, most of these are the ones that sat in the office, never got their hands dirty, never did anything, and most of their soldiers never respected them. Are the ones usually bad-mouthing other veterans as officers. The ones that were prior enlisted that became officers are the ones that usually get the most respect. But that's not the here or there. But that's what I'm saying. It's just like, those are the things that people don't attribute. It was just like, a lot of these soldiers need that mentoring and that education. Shit, I feel this to the core of my shit. That's what I'm talking about. And that's what people don't understand. It's just like, look, me as a platoon sergeant, you went to school. You were gonna get promoted. But I left it on you. I gave you your counseling. It was just like, hey, this is what I want from you. I want you to either enroll in school, or I want you to get this amount of correspondence hours done, or whatever the case may be. And at the end of the day, I counseled them on that. Plan of action, this is what you plan to do. Were they successful? Yes or no? I wasn't pushing you. You spoke about it. We spoke about it. We set goals. You didn't want to reach those goals. That showed me if you were hungry or not. Everybody isn't hungry in the military. Everybody isn't trying to succeed in the military. Everybody is not trying to make it to Sergeant Major. Some people just want to coast along. You want to coast along? You're still going to get the same work, but I'm not going to emphasize making sure you are developed the way you should be developed. So it's just like things like that you have to pay attention to, because it's just like, you know what? There's a lot of veterans out there that have this information, but they forget. I was like, we were all in service. All of us were in service. The thing is, were you mentored enough? Were you taught enough? Were you developed enough? Did you learn to use the regulation while in service? And that's the one thing that I always like to ask about. If you were one of those that knew the regulation while in service, why the hell don't you know the regulation outside of service? If you were the one that tried to get away with that shaving profile, you read that shit. You read into it. You saw what you could and could not do with that shaving profile. But all of a sudden, you can't do that with the CFR? You can't do the same thing with the Code of Federal Regulations? Chapter 1, Part 4, the Schedule of Ratings. You can't look into what you're going to file, what your percentages may be. That's where you fall. That's where we have that issue. But the thing is who taught you to get there? Who showed you what you needed to do to get there? That's why we have this channel. That's why we do that. Because the thing is for a lot of people, a lot of vets, it was like, hey, look, if you've been out of the military for so long and you're trying to file a disability claim, like I said, it's tough to service connect anything. But the thing is you have to do your homework. But here, let's show you how to get to the basic stuff. Let's show you how to use this. Let's show you how to do this. Let's integrate how and what ratings you can get, what you can file for and what you can't. Let's update people and educate people. Let's not badmouth for the veterans, because not everybody did the same thing in service. And that's the other thing. That's one of the other things that riles me up. And I know I piss off other veterans. I don't give a shit. Oh, just like, you're a vet, you're a vet. I don't give a shit what you did. I don't give a shit how many times you deployed. I don't give a shit about none of that. Are you okay now? Do you know what your benefits are? Do you know what your entitlements are? Do I know how long judges are holding appeal dockets? Let's see. For resource purposes, Lucius, if you didn't know about this, there's a site, United States Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims. And this will give you a breakdown. As for time, I can't give you an answer on that. I don't know time. I don't know how much time they're holding or how long they take to proceed with that. That information I cannot give you. That I do not have a viable answer for. That link, though, that is the United States Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims. So that basically, if you're looking for an appeal, you're looking for any class action cases, anything, state cases, active panel cases, orders and opinions, court rules and procedures, that's your best answer. Because I have knowledge of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff out there, y'all. There's a lot of stuff out there, and this is stuff that I've run into with questions from people in the channel. And I was just like, hey, this is the resource I didn't know about. Let me find this. Let me find an answer for you. I find the answer, and then I keep it located so that I know. And this is this right here. So for those that did not see, this is this is answering that question of basically how long do judges hold appeal dockets? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know what the actual answer is to that. But this is basically, you can learn, you can ask for certain dockets. If you have a certain docket, you could probably docket search, case number, put it in there, party or attorney, and it should be able to find it for you. and then you can know where it's at. But as for specifications, I wouldn't be able to provide that. No problem, Lucius. But like I said, that's the thing. It's just like things like that. That's what makes it different when it comes to doing these things. Being able to file this and being able to teach veterans like, hey, this is where you can find information for a certain question you have. Now, I don't know all the answers. I'm going to get you the answer where I know you can find it. What you do with it, how you interpret it, your outcome, that is on you. You are the veteran. I'm just your guide. I'm just a guide through this process. You are the veteran. You know yourself and you know your issues better than I will ever know. Even if you explain them to me, I still don't know everything you're dealing with. You are your best vouch. You can vouch for yourself the best. Your personal statement can do way more than whatever I can think of. Will I think of shit that you probably haven't? Definitely. Because I think outside the box. That's how I've helped many veterans. Because it's just like, you need to realize this. You need to think about that. This is something that's here. This is something that's not. That's something that most people don't realize and don't think of. That's where I come in. That's where I do a lot of this stuff. Where it's just like, hey, nobody thought about this. You know what? The fact that you didn't think about this allows me to find you the information so that you can use it. But like I said, it's all different. Everything has a regulation. When it comes to dealing with the VA, everything has a regulation. The same way when you were in service, there was a regulation for damn near everything. No matter how dumb it was there. But the difference is just like commander's discretion. Fucking hated that with a passion. Commander's discretion. Still hate that to a passion. Because it's just like left for interpretation. VA, not as much interpretation. Code of Federal Regulations, no interpretation. Shit tells you exactly what you're going to do, how you're going to get it, and what you can't get. There's no if, ands, or maybe this VA rater saw that you were doing better, or this VA. No. When it comes to issues like this, musculoskeletal, what's your range of motion? How much can you move? How much can you flex? How much abduction, rotation, flexion, deviation, pronation, plantar flexation, dorsiflexion, like every flexation you can think of. That is what they're going off of. And then it's going to tell you what the ratings are you can get for each thing. It's all in the regulation. It's not that you're just going to get 100%. You have to learn the basics. Learn the basics, which is the Code of Federal Regulations. That is the basic. That is the guidebook. I'm just assisting you through it. I'm just like the narrator. I just don't have the Morgan Freeman voice to go with it. But I'm just a narrator in the background telling you, like, you should be doing this. I tried to sound like him. I can't. Probably have like a voice effect that I could probably use that sound like, but it was just like, that's what it is. This is the biggest thing. This is one of the biggest documents that you can use that can benefit you to become successful at filing a disability claim. This right here. Code of Federal Regulations. Here's the link to that. If y'all don't know, check that out. If y'all have never seen this before, y'all never even looked at this before, take your time after the stream, later on tonight. Make sure you can click on it. You'll probably be taken away from the stream. I don't care. Click on it, save it. Go on your mobile. Go whatever opens up, Google Chrome, Edge, whatever. Click on that. Bookmark it. Go onto your thing. It's probably like a little star on the top. Bookmark it. Click on it. Save it for reference. Then what do? When you got time, which you should be making time, look through it. Just read the beginning parts. Just read this first part, the breakdowns of what it is, stuff like that. Do you have to read every single thing? No. because not everything is going to fall for you. Not everything is going to be there for you to be there. But then it's just like total disability ratings for pension based on unemployability and age of individual. Breaks that down. TDIU is a big thing that most veterans don't use or don't know to think about. It was like you can still get paid at the 100% if you have at least one issue that is 60% and another one that's 40, or they have to amount to 70, but it doesn't allow you to work. You go through the process, you get paid at 100%. It doesn't come with the other extra added benefits, but it's still there. The VRE program, Veteran Readiness and Employment, you don't need to be 100% for. I think all you need is 10%. Or I think in some cases, you just got to be a vet. And you can use the Veteran Readiness and Employment, Veteran Readiness and Employment Program. You basically get a stipend to go to school. They can show you to go to school. They can show you how to be more independent. They can show you how to be a business owner. There's different tracks. There's 5 different tracks with the VRE. You can use that. But if you want to be TDIU, you can do that also by employability. You got to remember there is criteria for it, but that's where you go into the CFR. You look into it, or you could just Google it up and research it. Like I said, I know this site right here, this right here, this shit is disheartening. This site right here is disheartening as hell. This is one of those, it's just like, you know what? I don't even want to file anymore. That was my process at first. Literally, I saw this site and I was just like, okay, ba.gov. Cool. This is what they told me on that out processing brief. Let me check this out. Bro, where the hell is the info? Like, yo, where the hell is the information I'm looking for? I was just like, why is it so tough? Like I just showed earlier, it took us 4 clicks to show where the disability ratings pay is. I made a video for that. That's for that reason. But this is all information. All of this is information. You just need to search for it. The thing is I know this website gets overwhelming because it was overwhelming for me when I was trying to find information. And most veterans, I understand. That's why they decide, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to pay an entity. I'm going to pay another resource. I'm going to pay this person. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it's just like, that's where we fall into that problem, where it's just like, sometimes veterans are just trying to do the easy button. This is a tough task. This isn't something that is easy to do. This isn't something you're just going to find access to. You're just going to get information to. This is something that is going to take work. But I promise you, it is rewarding. You putting in that effort to make sure your disability claim is taken care of, your disability claim is correct. Like I said, you being able to take your claim and give it to a random person, and that random person without a doubt should be able to tell you, yeah, he fucked up. I don't, no further question. You see what I'm saying? That's how you got to think. That's the mentality you have to think of while going to process and make your claim. You cannot go onto this and think, you know what, I'm gonna just file this and I'm gonna just get 100%. Shit don't work like that. I thought that way. Shit, I first started, I was just like, with all the shit I had, I was just like, easy 100%. Nope, it took me some time. It took me a couple of months after to get everything together, make sure I had my documentation together, put it like that, file the appeal, do all that. But I had all the information and it was there. It was just like, yeah, I just fucked up. And I got my 100% PNT. Should I have gotten more back pay because it was filed with the other one? Yes. But one thing I didn't know was just like, I didn't appeal the correct way. I appealed something that I thought was wrong, but it was actually right. And then I filed another claim on top of it instead of waiting for that appeal, which the process of me filing that other claim got it done quicker. So then they just back paid me to that date instead of the actual beginning date. So I probably missed out on a couple of good $1,000, but at the end of the day, I still got my PNT. Still got my 100% PNT. I go to the doctor. I got free healthcare. I got free dental. Um, I got the DEA, the Dependents Education Assistance benefits, where my wife is able to go to school and she gets a stipend. I'm going to the school and I'm using my GI Bill to finish off my master's degree, which I graduate willing, hopefully, in May. And I'll have my master's degree. I was just like, but there's still resources out there that I still am learning and I'm still trying to take advantage of. The VRE program, that's what I'm doing next. I'm gonna find out. I was like, you know what? Y'all paid, GI Bill paid for my master's degree. If I go for a PhD and I become Dr. Cruz, it's gonna be through the VRE program. Or if it means more credentialing or more stuff like that, go through that program. There's different stuff that's out there for veterans to use, and that's something that need to be acclimated with and need to understand and learn. Once we start educating, and like I said, basics, we need to continue with the basics. That is the biggest thing and the biggest change we can do for veterans is provide veterans the basics and the fundamentals of dealing with the VA. Once you have the basics and the fundamentals to the VA, you are going to file disability claims and you are going to get them approved. I will guarantee that. You find out what the basics are, you know what the fundamentals are, you know what the requirements are, what's needed, what helps your claims and stuff like that. You're going to get to 100%. But you got to do the heavy lifting. This is not something that you're just going to be able to obtain. Going through these other entities, fine, cool. You don't want to do the work and you want somebody else to do it for you, by all means, go through a VSO then. They ain't going to charge you. If you go through these other entities and you want to give up back pay for whatever reason, that's you. I'm trying to show you so that if you do end up getting this back pay or you get your shit approved, you ain't paying nobody. All that money stays with you. All this information that is here through the VA, through the CFR, Court of Appeals, the DBQs, all this is here. This is all information that's there. Is it hard to find? Hell yeah, it is. Because look, this is on benefits.gov. This is on benefits.va.gov to talk about the compensation part for the DBQs. It's not on the regular va.gov. So you have to go to the benefits section to do it. And if you see here, where the hell is the benefits section? There's a service member benefits. You can try this one and do it that way. Gonna look for the next stream. Tons of great info here. Thank you for doing the work to help others to try to find. Hey, Salty, no problem. Every Sunday, 12 noon. That's how we always do these. We always do these every Sunday, 12 noon. I know football. I know church. I understand those things. I don't expect everybody to be able to tune in, but you can always rewatch the videos and stuff like that. I know they're long. Put it on double speed. If you find something that's interesting, slow it down and watch it that way. But every Sunday, 12 noon, we do these live workshops for veterans. Hey, you have a question? Ask. Just ask. We're going to get you an answer. This is a free service. This is something I do because I knew I needed the assistance. This is something I want other people to get also. Just ask. Any questions. There's no wrong questions. There's no stupid questions. Most questions have already been asked before. Some have never been asked before. Doesn't hurt to ask. Yeah, see? I understand it's different for everybody. I am trying to do different streams throughout the week, but sometimes those are just like pop-up streams. Those workshop streams, pop-up streams is like literally, look, I ain't got no classwork. The kids might be at some sports or the kids want to sleep early. I got time. All right, let me stream kind of thing. Sundays, 12 noon, these are automatic. This upcoming week, I don't think I'm be streaming because I may be out of town. I'm going to a sporting event. So I may not be available next Sunday, but if that doesn't happen, definitely we'll probably move it on to Monday at some point in the evening or something like that. And then we got the holiday break coming up too. So we'll get some time in and we'll do that. But every Sunday there, this upcoming Sunday, I'm probably not going to be on. Just aware. I'll probably put a community post on there. If you haven't already, like, subscribe to the channel, leave the notifications on. I always schedule the videos out within the week, so that way people are notified ahead of time, like, hey, this is when the next stream is going to be. If it's a random pop-up stream, they might be off my phone or they may be there, but like I said, we're going to keep doing these. Videos are going to come out. We're working on the website. And it's just basically, it's not going to be another va.gov. Basically, I'm going to try to make a website that is way more friendlier for veterans to tune in. But keep in mind, I'm only doing this as a one-man job. So it's going to take time to do this, but as you ask questions, you leave questions in comments, you leave questions on videos, that allows me to start formulating stuff. I ask those quiz questions on the community board. So Monday through Friday, I'm always asking a different question that pertains to disability rates, VA loans, forms, different stuff. That allows me to see what veterans may be lacking information in, and that's what I do. That's why this week we did VA forms. We didn't go too in depth on it, but we showcased what the DBQs do, how they can assist you in filing, how they can guide you as to what else you may need to talk to your doctor about that you may have, that you didn't even realize you had, but that could be diagnosed also, and that can be a second part of your claim or a different claim altogether. That's what we went over today. And then always the CFR. We always on this. This one is always there. The CFR is always used here. It's always the best resource because it gives you the best information possible. This is what you need to make sure you're always using. Always. Without a doubt. Always. That's what you need to be using. But yeah, that's what it is. Every Sunday, 12 noon. Salty, appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate if it helps. Like I said, if y'all have any questions or anything, don't hesitate to ask. I was like, there's nothing wrong with asking. You're gonna get an answer. We're gonna find you an answer, and it's gonna be an answer that it's not based on my opinion. Part of it may be opinionated, but it's gonna be directed from a specific resource. So you're gonna get this information from Code of Federal Regulations, or you're going to get it from VA dot something or .gov something and stuff like that. I'm from the reserves in Washington, and I asked for help for college education. They always tell me to figure it out. College education in which respect, Danny? Because the thing is in Washington, I know there's different stuff. So another resource, I was showing people this last week. Was it? Okay. So I'll give you the link to this. This is the My Air Force benefits. Doesn't matter if you're Air Force, Space Force, Navy, Marines, Army. It doesn't matter. This will basically give you a breakdown of what it is. So I'll put the link in here. Give me a sec. Copy. This is for anybody in the chat. This is for anybody in the chat. Always provide this. It was just like, look, it's getting the information out to there. I used Ignite. Okay. But this is something that you can go click on here, go to Washington, education benefits. And it'll give you everything there. Because you gotta remember, for each state is different. Some states have specific guidance when it comes to just veterans, just active duty, reserves, National Guard. Some of them have programs. Some of them have scholarships. When it comes to scholarships and stuff like that, this is stuff, that link there will take you and show you per state what it is that they have that the government they know provides. You still have to reach out to your schools, see what else is available. Depending on if you're using your GI Bill, depending if you're using the Montgomery GI Bill, if people are still using that and have access to it. I know the reserves and National Guard have different entities and different programs for veterans, but it's all state-based. Everything is state-based, and that's something that people need to realize. When it comes to that, everything is state-based. Every state operates differently. Every state gives opportunities and has different things. Thing is you have to make sure that either you reach out to a VSO, ask the VSO, go stop by an American Legion, a BFW, DAV, Disabled American Veterans, any other nonprofit organization. Most of the time they try to have a VSO, and if not, just go and ask like, hey, I'm a reserve member, National Guard member, active duty, or I'm a veteran. What education benefits does the state of Washington provide? Because the thing is the state of Washington may have this, but then, well, if you sign up or talk to this organization may provide you with this. Here's a grant. You can qualify for this. You can qualify for that. So all those different things and all those different entities go a long way when it comes to finding information and gaining your information that allows you to like, okay, I got this. Now I know I can use this. I can use that. This is information provided there and stuff like that. I got 80%, but I've been on benzos for 13 years now and having some bad side effects, even though I've been weaning slow, neuropathy, 80%. Well, feels use of right hand memory bad also. So Robert, so the thing is so when you're dealing with stuff like that, because that is medication based, right? So if you're at 80% and you're dealing with that and you've been dealing with that for a long time, you should have a track record of that. You should be making sure you have that with your doctor. Now, do they have anything? Let's see. Neurological. Does any of these fit? Because you can have a DBQ filled out by your provider to fill one of these out if it deals with this as a DBQ. So that's basically your provider filling out any of these that may attribute it to it or not. So if you're at 80% and you've been there and you've been dealing with a neurological issue, let me see, is there anything else? Because there's that. Then we go to table of contents and we go to this is new. What is new? Because neurological conditions and convulsive disorders. So depending on if you fall into something like this is where it's going to tell you residuals of traumatic known TBI. Because they just break that down, miscellaneous diseases, stuff like that. So depending on what it is you're dealing with, it's attributed to something. So if you got 80% in a certain spot, for some, you got to remember that even if you have, I used Med Clinic every 2 weeks. So you have to have all that documented. If you're going to file for an increase, the thing is you have to make sure that you know what is it that you're filing for an increase. So when you got that 80%, what was the diagnostic code in your rating document that basically said, okay, this is what I have? Yes, you do have. Okay, so you do have a TBI. So then that would fall under what it is. Because remember, if you're at that 80% mark and one of those is 70 or above and or 40 above, you could try to go to the TDUI route, which gets you at 100%, but it's the one that basically you cannot work past or earn more than the poverty level, which is like 15,000 something. So you can go about it that way and file for TDIU if it's that impairing for you that you cannot work. That can get you to 100%. Because if you cannot use your right hand, that is something that is disabling that can not allows you to work in many factors and many things. So maybe TDIU is the route for you. Now, in the case of you having that 80%, it depends on what is it that you have that got you to 80%. Because you have to, this is what you need to do, Robert. So I'm gonna put you on this. You're also on SSI. Oh, so you should be at 100% then, regardless. But I need you to go onto this. So this is a Code of Federal Regulations, right? So when you get the chance, what I'm gonna need you to do is I'm gonna need you to go and get your ratings letter. Go through the ratings letter and see everything you got rated for. Find a diagnostic code for all those things that you are being rated for. When you do that, I need you to go onto that link and I need you to go to the Code of Federal Regulations. What I'm gonna want you to do is I want you to go and find those rating codes in this document, whatever they are. You can search for it, and it's easy because it's just like 8001. Oh, it doesn't do it as well. Hold on, let me see. Full text. No. Let me see if I can search. Just over CFR reference. How do I search within this? So besides the search, because the thing is at the bottom of it, if you go to the table of contents, you can go to the bottom and it has the numerical index of disabilities. The code should be on there for what you have. What I need you to do is I need you to go onto your diagnostic code and find these codes. Find the issues that you have. Once you do that, you need to go and backtrack and find where they are in this. Okay, I just got in the mail from the VA another evaluation for. So that means you're going to go through another CMP examination. Because if you have that, the Goforth syndrome is going to probably up your rating also. But what I need you to also do is everything that you have. See, because look, this is basically how they break it down. So evaluation of cognitive impairment and other residuals of TBI not otherwise classified. So judgment, so interaction, visual, spatial orientation, neurobehavioral, communication, consciousness. These are different things that they rate as level of impairment, and that also provides that information. So this is going to be the criteria that they go off of to evaluate how bad the issue is. But residuals of traumatic brain injury. Because like I said, not everything is going to get you to 100%. And that's where you need to find out what you have, what you can claim, and what information is there that gets you to that point. Because the thing is for some, you may have been rated at a certain part when you got rated for it. Now, if the issue has worsened, then you have to go off to the diagnostic code and, okay, what percentage can I get and do I fit the increase? So, like, let's say, let me see if I can find something I can use as an example. So, like, let's say you're dealing with migraines, right? But this is not for migraines because in your issue is like the loss of your use of hand. What you're trying to do is you got to find the information here, whatever it is, whatever that code is, and see what the rating capabilities of it are. So you see here, like with migraine, it goes from 0 to 50. So maybe with the diagnostic, they told me since I got 80, I get paid out. So are you getting paid out at 100% or are you getting paid at the 80%? Because the thing is the issue that you may have is that they're saying that you're at the 80% because of that issue. So you need to file for TDIU, which your best bet would go to a VSO and have assistance with filing the TDIU claim. Because if you have that 80% and you can show that, you can claim 100% and then they pay you out at 100%. Remember, you have to file for the TDIU. The VA is not going to go out of their way, even though they know you have these issues, to get you to the 100% mark. So that's what you have to make sure to do that. So you have to file probably for the TDIU to go to disabling and unemployability because of the fact that you have this issue, and then that claim will probably put you into the 100% mark. Now you may also have to look into the special monthly compensation because it's a loss of limb or loss of use of limb, which may put you into a different level of compensation. But in that case, I would definitely, Robert, I suggest you reaching out to a VSO to get all that stuff notated and file the documentation you may need to get assistance with that. Because if you have all this stuff and you're not getting paid at 100%, that means they know you should be filing for TDIU, but they're not going to do that. So you're going to get paid at the 100% because you fit the criteria for unemployability. But then also you may have to, if you file for an increase or something like that, you may get to the 100% and do that. Yes, definitely. Any organization that can assist you with that, they are going to have knowledge. They're going to have people that can assist you with that. Andrea, as my husband was in the Air Force for 10 years. We've been married for 27. He was receiving disability benefits, $1,400. COVID took him. I'm alone and disabled now. Is the widow eligible for any of his funds? So in order to do that, Andrea, this is what I'm going to show you. DIC. Give me 1 second. So DIC, this is dependent indemnity claim. So this is the information, Andrea, that you can try to use, which is basically, it's basically let's say even took out from his retirement, he was receiving a full time work income. So Andrea, the only issue is that when it comes to the DIC payments, you have to have on his death certificate, it has to be a service connected disability or a service connected reason why he passed. If that's on his death certificate and it is service connected, then you would go through and you would file the DIC paperwork. Hey, no problem, Robert. I trust me. Look, I know this is hard and I know this is difficult. I'm trying to help as best I can. I don't know y'all specific situations. When it comes to issues like that, I try to guide you to a VSO because they will assist you and they have the resources and better knowledge of it. If you know of an organization that can do that, reach out to them. Because I can guide you when it comes to like, hey, this is what you need to look at. This is what can possibly be done. But at the end of the day, if you need assistance, go through a VSO that can provide you that documentation. Andrea, for stuff like that, you can receive the DIC. You also have to look at it because the thing is for some, depending on your state, you may get tax exemptions on your home because of the fact that you're a surviving spouse of a veteran. Depending on your state, that's state dependent. So you would have to ask the tax assessor for that. That could save you some money. When it comes to Social Security, that's a whole different entity. I don't know how that works. So that's something you would have to contact somebody through Social Security to find out information there to see if there's any benefits or any way you can obtain other things. Through the VA, it's the DIC for spouses and dependents. And it's basically filling it out. But I know one of the main things is opiate withdrawals. I understand. The issue is that it's tough because the thing is you have to have that documented. You have to have that shown. You have to have all that documented because the thing is the VA isn't tracking that. With anything, the VA is not tracking and they're not going after you to find this information. They are doing what they know and they're going through that and doing it that way. That's the one thing you got to realize. The VA will tell you these things, but the thing is at the end of the day, they expect you to go and do it. So when it comes for you filing for TDIU, you have to do it. The VA is never going to initiate that unless it's just like clear cut. But if you have multiple things and that's what's causing it and now it's gotten worse over time, you have to file for the increase. You have to see what you can increase. Because you got to remember with certain ailments, once they get to a certain point, there's no higher rating for it. For some, it goes up. For some, it doesn't. Like how I was showing with the migraines. Less frequent attacks starts at 0. But if you have it that is prolonged attacks, it gets to 50. And that's because it increases. But the most you can get for migraines is 50%. So the same thing with any other issues that you have on your ratings letter, you have to see what it is on the diagnostic code, check the CFR, see if you can file for an increase because the issue has gotten worse over time. If you can do that, that can help you push to 100% P&T or to 100%. Or if not, see if you can file for TDIU, which is the unemployability, that will get you paid at the 100% mark. The only issue, I don't know how it works with SSI. I'm not sure how that works in conjunction. That's the one thing I don't know too much of how those two work together, and like if the pay causes issues when it comes to the poverty level gain or the earned income that you can get, because it's only at the poverty level that you can get that. But yeah, Andrea, like I was saying, the best thing is you have to go through this. Um, no problem, Andrea. I wish I could be more helpful. I really wish I could. Um, it's just it's hard in certain situations to assist. It's trying to guide you to the right location, because the thing is in cases like this, Andrea, that's where I say American Legion, Veteran of Foreign Wars, Disabled American Veterans. These are organizations. These are like some of the biggest organizations that are in the States. There's a plethora. There's so many that are smaller entities that also provide assistance. You have to ask for this assistance though. Because the thing is in cases like that, I can't guide you through it because I don't know exactly what it is you're dealing with and what the situation is. If you go through a VSO, you can explain your issues specifically, and they will be able to assist you and do that in person, so you can do it in person. When it comes to benefits after a service veteran has passed, it's usually the DIC payments. When it comes to DIC payments, the death certificate has to state basically that the person died from an issue, and that issue has to be service connected. Now, I've seen and I've spoken to other people where they've had issues where it's not specifically there or not that. See, and now with SS, that realm, I have no idea. I have no idea how Social Security operates. I don't know what their benefits are, how they're situated and stuff like that. That you would probably have to talk to like a Social Security like lawyer or attorney. Don't pay him. Ask for like that free consultation. Ask for that free, because most of the time they do like an hour consultation or something like that. Go make a list of all the questions you have, and then go and talk to them and ask them those questions, is like the questions that you need the most answers to, and get those free consultations and get answers that way. Because the thing is I know, like you said, times is tough. You don't need to pay for this. Go ask for that free consultation, get the information, ask like, hey, how do I go about this? What's available? How can I change this? Do I have to file stuff like that? Same thing. Same thing happens with anything when it comes to disability claims with the VA. Make sure you are asking the right questions. Make a list of these questions and ask them. Go through the CFR, go through this document, go through the MDAT 21. All this stuff is there and available for you to use, and that benefits you because then you're more prepared and you're asking better questions. So you're not wasting time. When it comes to that, I've seen when it comes to the death certificate of a veteran, if it's something that happened because of COVID, it could have been a complication of something that was caused by COVID. Now, if that complication is tied to that, no, I know, Andrea, but that's the thing. You could just reach out, Google Social Security lawyers. See which one of them has free consultations. Just ask. Reach out to all of them, if anything. Anything you can find, just do it. Just ask that way and try to get information, try to see what it is. Because I'm not sure what your particular issue is, and I don't know about Social Security like that. So your best thing is to get a lawyer. Not saying you got to pay him, but if you got free consultations, ask a couple of questions, go to the next one, ask more questions, and keep doing it till you can get a better formulated thing, and you can devise a plan off of that. Same way like here. If anybody got any questions and stuff like that, I'm going to help you find a way to get an answer or lead you in the right direction. And if not, I'm going to tell you and I'm going to advise you, go to a VSO. Even in your case, Andrea, go to the American Legion. Go to the Veteran of Foreign Wars. You go to that. There's organizations, and a lot of the times organizations do assist veteran dependents and veteran spouses, because they know they passed or they know they may go into rough times. So going through there, Andrea, you may be able to get assistance and not pay for it. Not necessarily going through a lawyer. The BFW and the American Legion, these are entities that have resources upon resources. These are nationally recognized organizations that are nonprofits. American Legion and the BFW are two of the biggest in the country when it comes to veteran affairs. They will have a program, or they will know where to resource or send you to obtain the information you need to benefit you. That's why I always mention that I don't work for either one of those. I'm a member of the VFW, but both of those is just like they have information and they have resources. When it comes to assisting veterans and their families, that's what they're there for. That's what they do. So in cases like that, you may not need to get a lawyer. You can just go to one of these organizations, reach out. It was like, hey, you might not be able to be close by to one of them, but if you go online and you can search through it, find a resource close enough to you, talk to them over the phone, and they will guide you. Those I haven't heard of anybody being turned away by them. That's one of the reasons why I always vouch for those organizations. Any organization that a veteran is in need, these organizations help. Very rarely do you find an organization that was like, look, we can't help you. But the bigger the organization, the more resources they most likely have. So that's something to keep in mind. But like I said, when it comes to that, death of a service member, sorry for your loss. It's still paperwork that needs to go through. So that death certificate has to have information stating that it was something that he passed away from that is service connected. Then you filing through the DIC process of having that. And then it's like the different benefits and you get compensation. It's not going to be the same amount they get for it. It's American Legion. I'll give you the links. Give me 1 second. So this is the American Legion. This is the Veteran of Foreign Wars, which there's simple links to go to and find. And this is disabled American veterans. So those are the three different links. Those are three different organizations that you can reach out to. And what they do is they help veterans. That's the best I can do. And just reaching out to those, they have information, or trust me, if they don't have something, they will provide you a guide and they will show you where to go to. Disabled American veterans, Veteran of Foreign Wars, and the American Legion. Those are basically the biggest three organizations available to veterans. Use them. They're a resource. They're there. I'm here as a resource to just try to help and educate people, but these people have a vast amount of resources that I do not have. They know lawyers, they know attorneys, they have VSOs, they have accredited agents, they have all that stuff. I don't have all that stuff. That's why I always send people to do it. When it comes to certain criteria like that, get proper assistance from one of these organizations that will help. When it comes to dealing with anything veteran wise, dependent wise, entitlement wise, anything like that, these people know their states more because most of the time they have a location in each state. Each state has different resources. Each state has different benefits. Each state has different entitlements. So going to them, they are going to be able to provide you a more in-depth analysis and information on your state information. I should probably be sponsored by these people by the time, by the amount of times I always try to have them like to speak on them and stuff like that. Because the thing is we need these resources. A lot of veterans don't know to go to them, but there's never such a thing. That's the one thing veterans need to understand. There's no such thing as you shouldn't feel guilty for asking for stuff that you earned. Plain and simple. We earned all these benefits. We served. If you're a spouse or you're a dependent, they earn those benefits. It was like if you're a spouse or a dependent, that service member earned all these benefits. That service member earned these entitlements. They sacrificed, they decided to sign, and they decided to swear an oath. We all earned this. So it's never, veterans should not feel guilty about using these resources. The resources were meant there and they were created because they knew veterans would need them. So don't feel guilty. Don't do that. Even certain local, you can go to your closest VA facility. You would probably be able to go there and ask them where to go. Most of the time, the VA facilities have one of these organizations or somebody that works within the organization in the VA hospital or the VA location. And you can go there. Don't hesitate to ask. You're in need of help. Don't hesitate to ask. If you got any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. I am here to try to guide people and assist veterans in doing the best they can to provide a benefit for themselves, their families, take care of themselves, and be better off financially, physically, and mentally. Don't ever feel guilty for any of these things that you or your spouse or your dependents are using, because that's something we earn. That's what happens when you serve this country. That's something that people need to realize. It's not, you're not asking for anything. You're not taking away from anybody else. Every veteran, when you signed up, was afforded these benefits. There's nothing wrong with that. Every dependent, there's benefits. But remember, there's forms, like how circling back all the way to the beginning of the stream. There's forms that need to be filled out, whether a DBQ. Yes, Andrea, all these videos, all my videos, when I stream them, they are saved. So basically you have so if you go onto my page, it'll break it down into different sections. So let me just double check so I give you the right information. So when you go to the link, when you go to my page, it'll be the tab and it'll have the home, videos, short, live, podcast, playlist, community, all that stuff on the membership and all that stuff. You would just go to the top of the link and it'll say live. When you go to the live, you click on the live. And then from there, you'll be able to see it. And you can just click on, it'll give you the option of latest, popular, or oldest. You can click on latest, and these will be the next videos that pop up. I will probably try to see if I change. I usually try to change the front of it, because this was like VA forms. But like I said, when we do these on Sundays, we're trying to stick to one topic. But if questions arise, people have questions or comments, stuff like that, we try to make sure that they are assisted in any way. And that's the best we can do. That's the best I can do. That's the best I can do when it comes to it. But yeah, that's hopefully this assists you. Hopefully it gets you some resources. Like I said, don't be guilty for it. That's a lot of veterans and a lot of dependents and spouses go through that problem where it's just like they're guilty, or they think it's like them. Is like, no, your service member served. They became a veteran for a reason. The resources and the stuff that's there is there for a reason for them to use. There's no feeling bad about it. This is something that they earned for you to use and utilize. So don't ever worry about that. But yeah, if anybody has any questions or stuff like that, all these lives are able to go back to. Just go onto the page, go to the live section. Every time I do a live, all the lives I've done the past, I've been doing this for over a year plus now, every Sunday almost. I've missed a couple here and there. But I do also, Andrea, and that's why I do this. Normal turnaround grip today. What is the normal turnaround for a CMP exam? Depends. Are you asking for when you're going to get the CMP exam or the results from the CMP exam? Because you got to remember, they're doing that but then they're also trying to find the documentation. They're also trying to clarify the documentation, get the information. CMP exams usually only last like 30 minutes, but how well of a claim do you have? How well is it formulated? How well is your evidence provided? How do you have the buddy statement? Do you have the annexus letter? Do you have all that in all that documentation that when after the CMP examiner, the VA rater looks at it and was just like, wow, I don't gotta ask shit. Everything is here. Results depends on what else you provided. Because they're gonna go through it and then it's gonna go to the next step. For tinnitus, I want to offer a homeless veteran a bedroom, but how would I go about it? Ooh. Hold on 1 second, Andrea. So for tinnitus, grip, there's no way of testing tinnitus. The thing is do you have the service connection? Do you have what is providing and showing that it happened in service? Because the CMP exam, they're gonna do the audiology, and most of the time with the audiology, what they're trying to see is do you have hearing loss? Do you have a record of it? If you don't have anything in your file or anything like that, you could claim tinnitus. But if there's no way of showing it, no matter the CMP exam, you're gonna get denied. You have to make sure you have the information there showing, hey, the ringing in the ear was caused me at the range or me working around heavy machinery all the time. I'm a mechanic. I'm working around things. I was part of that 3M earplug settlement part. So, stuff like that, that all contributes to it. Will that make a big difference? Not always. But you have to have that service connection because tinnitus is the one thing that you can't do it. Um Andrea, for something like that, that would still be that is tough. Um I know with the assistance, but that one is tough because the thing is it's either you go into homeless shelters, but at the same time, that's welcoming in somebody that you don't know where they're mentally at, Andrea. So that it's hard to do that because the thing is some veterans become homeless because of their mental state. Some veterans like the whole outside feel and not having bills, not having to pay stuff. Um, that would probably have to be a question maybe for like housing agency. Whatever your housing agency is in your city or your community, just asking like, hey, is it possible for me to be able to provide a room for a homeless veteran or something like that? You would have to talk to like your housing agency or maybe your homeless shelters around and see what they do and what they say to be able to do something like that. Because that is difficult to provide because the thing is and it's hard to provide because it's just like you don't know where these veterans are. Some veterans just need a place. Some veterans don't want a place. Some veterans deal with PTSD and that's why they're out in the street because they've lost people because of what they like. There's so many different factors when it comes to that. Is just trying to find how. But that would be a resource to ask like your housing agency in your community, in your town, or shit, even going through the DAV, the American Legion of the VFW, you could probably go through them and try to see if there's anything you can do about that. They'll probably be able to, but that one I know is difficult to do, especially because they have like the HUD-VASH program, which is like for the homeless veterans, which gives them like a voucher to basically like get housing. So that depends also. So they may try to push them like instead of sending them to you, they may try to push them towards the HUD-VASH program so that way they can file for a waiver about you to get their information and have them into homeless, get them into a housing, which then they can get care and stuff like that. So depending on that situation, that it differs. Um, so yeah, that makes it kind of difficult to answer, but anything it's usually like I said, most of the stuff is there's a lot of organizations in our own communities that we don't know of that are trying to provide assistance to veterans. And sometimes it's just reaching out and asking people different questions or different organizations like what else is around here. um That's the thing, Andrea. That would be something that you would have to insure, equip, and that's the thing. Is just like that's the risk for you. I understand it being a great thing and a great opportunity, but that's always still a risk. Um, so I there I'm not sure how to advise on that one. It's always a risk dealing with that. It's a difficult circumstance to see. It's a great notion. It's just difficult to administer that notion because it's just like you don't know what you're dealing with, and there's other resources to do that. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. That's a difficult one to have happen. So, but what time is it? Oh, we're about to hit 3 hours. I only said I was gonna do 2 hours today. Here I am at three. Um, but yeah, this is like I said, this is something that we do every Sunday, 12 noon. Uh, this upcoming Sunday, I will probably put a community post. Yeah, that's why I say, Andrea. Just like it's a difficult position. It's a great thing to do. It's just for your safety and your awareness. It's something I wouldn't suggest because you don't know where somebody is mentally, and that could be a good thing for you, or that could be a detriment towards you in your own home or the safety of your own home. So that's what I say for that. Like I said, is it's teaching that veteran to get them to the homeless programs and stuff like that to do it. Andrea, I don't. If this is your first time on the channel, but that's how I am. I'm gonna be as honest and brutally honest with people as I best I can. Because there's no sugarcoating the stuff. It's just like you have to be able to tell people, look, I don't know. Because the thing is I don't want to misguide you. Because as a veteran, that's where we have a lot of problems with people get misguided. They don't get the right info. They get sent here. They go through this, and then all of a sudden, it's just like I'll have somebody come in. Oh well, Just Cruz said this, this, and that. And I went and did this, and I was like, no, I don't. That's why I don't give you. That's why I don't give people. Hey, how to get this percentage. No, I don't do that. It's more. I'm gonna teach you the fundamentals. I'm gonna teach you the basics of what you need to do to be successful. And if I can't do that, I'm going to provide you the location or somewhere to talk to somebody that can help you in a more in-depth manner where you are better off than just going off of what I'm saying. Um, there's too much misinformation that's going around, and I think one of the biggest issues that we are dealing with as veterans or just society as a whole when it comes to I heard this from this person. This person told me that. Oh, this veteran from this veteran told me if I do this and this and that. No, I don't do none of that. He said, she said nonsense. This is this is the document. This is the .gov site. This is the link. This is what you can use. This is the resource used by the VA. You do with it what you need to do with it. Not advising you on how to use the Code of Federal Regulations. I'm telling you what it is, what it does, and how to read it, how to understand it. Too many people fall into that. Going into a lot of these other channels is just like, oh, how to get to a 90% off of these three claims. Bro, if you don't have the information or you don't have the diagnosis or you don't have the documentation for those three claims, that shit goes out the fucking window. Now you just gaslighting veterans into thinking, oh shit, if I do this, I'm gonna get 90%. And then they go through it, and then next thing you know, this person has spent the last 10 fucking years trying to get something approved because they saw somebody telling them, oh, this is what you should be doing to get there. It's like, no. If you learn what the Code of Federal Regulation is, you learn all the issues, you actually understand what's going on with you, what your ailments are, what your claims can be. There's over 3,000 different claims. If you figure out all the ones you need and all the stuff you can claim, and you see what the percentages are and stuff like that, you can get to 100% off of the issues you have. But you got to remember, they have to be service connected. You have to tie them in. You're just not going to, you're not going to get this information. You're not going to get to 100% just off of these claims of just people telling you, oh, just do this, do that, and do this. That's not how it works. Learn this regulation. Learn what it is. Learn what's going on with you. Actually notate what's going on with you. Notate what's wrong with you. Everything. Everything. Not just the big ass claims, not just the sleep apnea, not just the PTSD, not just the mental health awareness, not just the migraines, not everything. That knee injury, that ankle injury, hip injury, scars, arthritis in your fingers, like arthritis in your shoulder, all that stuff. Put everything into the claim. Find out, get a diagnosis for it, get it documented, and then from there, you're going to be better off. You're going to be able to get those claims. You're going to be able to make that documentation. You're going to be able to file these claims and have the documentation that assists you in becoming or receiving those benefits that you earned. It sucks that we have to be proud about being disabled to get compensation. But at the same time, you did your time. You served the military. You went through these issues. You need to be compensated for the fact that you cannot operate like you regularly used to. You can't do the same things you used to be able to do. But at the same time, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to file it, you don't know how to go through the process, you're just delaying stuff and making your time longer, and you're processing your claim and all your stuff. It's going to take even longer to process. That's what's going to slow you down. That's what's going to take you years upon years to do it, because you decided to just skip the basics, skip the fundamental information, and just file a claim and then wonder, damn, why did it get denied? Well, I didn't provide this. You didn't provide that. You didn't do this. And it's just like, he said, thank you for telling me to be honest. Yo, Q Hut, what up? Andrea, anybody that comes into this channel, I speak to. Anybody that says anything, I go through. I was just like, I don't have thousands of viewers, so it's not like the listing goes crazy and stuff like that. But what I try to do is anybody that comes in here, you have a question resorting to anything with benefits, disability, entitlements, stuff like that, just ask. I'm going to get you an answer, and I'm going to answer you. That's the whole thing. See, look, you can ask Annette. Annette was here, and I did a consultation with Annette, and it was just like she tuned in one time. She asked questions, and I just assisted. It didn't matter who it was, where you're from, when you served, how long you served, or whatever. You're a veteran and you need assistance. I'm going to try to help you as best I can. Q Hut, to achieve 100% PTSD / TBI already at 70, you got to look at the table of contents, brother. If you're going to get to 100%, you have to fall into this criteria here. To get to 100% PTSD, you have to fall into this. Because if you're at 70%, that means when they did the CMP on mental health issues, this is what you get. That's how you got here. That's how they give you that 70%. Because anything that may have to do with PTSD or any of these mental disorders, when they evaluated you, this is what they found you to be at. In order for you to get to 100%, you would do it this way. But at the same time, if you're going for it, like I said, TDIU is one of those least used thing, and it was just like it's one of those things that people try to do, but it don't. Andrea, I do these every Sunday. Like I said, this coming Sunday, I probably will not be doing a stream because I'll be at a sporting event. But I do these every Sunday, 12 noon. I've been doing these at least a year going, where I have to probably make all the, because I put it as member only videos for all the past ones. I have to probably put those all back out again. But I've been doing this every Sunday for the past year and a half, I would say. I had to make sure when it was, but I'm probably approaching like close to 2 years of doing this every Sunday, 12 noon. That has not changed. Pop-up streams every now and then when I got the time because I'm still in school, but um that's what it is. I was just like, anybody that comes in here, asks a question, has any issues or something like that, I try to assist them as best I can, try to give them the information they need, at least lead them, guide them to where they need to go, or guide them to the resource that they need to look into to get a better interpretation or better understanding of what it is they're asking, so that way it's like, hey, this is what you need, this is what you're looking for. Like in the case of Qha asking, how do I get to 100% PTSD? This is how you get it. This is how they have to figure out. This is how they evaluate you, and they see that you're at 100%. Well, like I said, if you're at 70% already, that can be a unemployability issue where you can try to file for TDIU, which gets you to 100% payment. The other thing is that, remember, with TDIU, it is a limiting factor when it comes to the fact that you can only earn under 15,000 over the poverty level. So basically the poverty level is $15,000. You can only make under that. If you make any more than that, then they try to take money away from you. How to get that letter? How to get what? Queen, welcome in. But yeah, how to get which letter, Q Hut? Because the thing is this has to be when you're getting evaluated. You have to show this. Like I said, you can go through this. Go to the. Here you go. Here's the DBQ. Copy. Use this. See what fits in there and go through that process and fill that out. Well, have a medical provider fill that out. Andrea, thank you for tuning in. You have yourself a great day. Take care. Like I said, reach out to those organizations. They will be able to provide you that information that you are probably looking for, and they'll be able to assist you with the resources they have. Like I said, I don't have the resources of a VSO or anything like that. Just try to do it that way. Already 100% PNT, trying to do SMCS and then 8 in attendance, had a bad fall tour. See, so the thing is Q. The thing is you have to look at it this way. If you're already at 100% PNT and you're trying to do the SMCS, you have to fall into that criteria and you have to apply for that. For 8 in attendance, just because you had a bad fall, are you continuously receiving this? Are you continuously receiving 8 in attendance? If you're not continuously receiving 8 in attendance, then it's like a temporary thing. So you won't fall under the 8 in attendance because of the fact that it's a temporary thing. For being 8 in attendance, that means that you are continuously, every day, all day, needing 8 in attendance, which is clothing, showering, eating, movement around and stuff like that. So that makes it different. You're just not going to get it, because if you had a bad fall, you had that issue and you got injured. But is it something that is going to be a continuous factor? Because that's what 8 in attendance falls into. It's basically like, hey, for the rest of your life, you will need 8 in attendance. That's how you fall into that. If it's just because you had a certain issue, it's not going to fall into that. Carter Lee asks, why try to game the system and not just integrate into society? I don't know who you are, Carter. I've never seen you before. But maybe you've been paying attention maybe to these other channels where they try to teach people to game the system. Here, I am trying to educate you on how to file a disability claim the correct way. I'm not trying to game you into anything. If you file for something, that means you should have the documentation and the diagnosis showing that you are injured. It is not about gaming the system. If you want to game the system, you probably tuning into these other channels, which is like, hey, file this and you could get 100%. We ain't about that here. Here is educating veterans to all resources so that they can integrate back into society. So that when they know about the VRE program, the Veteran Readiness and Employment Program, they can use that to get better employment, become a business owner, long term, which is they educate them and then put them in the thing, or help them get a job. It's teaching them those different resources, not trying to teach people how to scheme the system. You're one of those veterans probably that has an issue with veterans receiving benefits. And the simplest thing I got to say to you is you can mind your business. Plain and simple. I know people won't like that. Don't give a shit. You a veteran, take care of yourself. Don't worry about what other veterans is doing. Everybody didn't go through your situation. Everybody didn't go through whatever you went through. Some people went through worse. Some people went through less. You can mind your business. It's that simple. If you have a problem with it, that's your problem. No other veteran cares if you think somebody is scheming it or not. Is it wrong that they're doing it? Hell yeah, it is. But you have no justification in doing that because not everybody integrates back into society the same way. A person that has PTSD because of a sexual assault does not have the same PTSD of something in wartime. Two different things, two different triggers, two different atmospheres. So to say that you can't integrate back in society is basically ignorant of a person to say that they're trying to scheme into it because not everybody went through the same situation. Not everybody went through the tough time. Not everybody was, how would you say it? I wouldn't say that the VA games a system towards truly hurting and deteriorating veterans either. I'm not going to say that either. Oh, man. Does it need help? Yes. Does it need fixing? Absolutely. But the thing is a lot of the problem is that veterans don't know what the hell they're doing in the first place to actually get shit done the correct way. Plain and simple. If veterans knew how to file their disability claims, it wouldn't be such a damn drawn out process. You wouldn't have so many higher level reviews or any appeals or anything of the sort if you had that. Why? Because now people have the information they need. They know how to file correctly. They know how to put the documentation how they're supposed to. Their diagnosis, their imagery, their buddy statement, their own personal statement. You have all that information in there. You can file for anything as long as you have that documentation. And that's what the criteria is to get approved. The crazy thing is to have people be like, oh, like you should be integrated into society. Okay. What is the VA doing to do that? Because everybody's always a critic about somebody getting benefits, but then they don't have an answer as to how they should get them benefits or how to process it. Because most of the people that I've talked to, most of the people that come into the channel are people that are not aware of what's available to them. So they ask questions. And some of them don't even ask questions when they come in. They just listen to what I got to say. And you can ask anybody here. I ain't trying to help you scheme shit. Why am I going to try to help you scheme something and not get paid for it? So I'm an accomplice to your scheme? That ain't going to be on me. What you do with the information that is taught on this channel, that is your information. And that it's just like people, the thing is like I said, it's dealing with issues like that it's just like you deal with ignorance when it comes to other veterans. I was just like always a veteran that's always trying to badmouth or trying to say this, and that. I was just like, bro, nobody cares how you feel about another veteran. That other veteran don't care about how you feel. That other veteran is doing what he has to do to take care of himself. If you don't know how to file the claim, you're going to be in the long run. Like I tell people, if you can't take your disability claim and literally just hand it to somebody, and that person can tell you everything that's fucked up with you, your disability claim ain't strong enough. Plain and simple. It's just like not everybody sees that. Everybody just thinks it's just like, oh, I file, I'm going to get it. No, that's the problem. If you file a disability claim, got to make sure that you can prove that it is a military issue, that it is something that's going on with you, that it did happen in service. It's not going to happen that way. And the net, shit, 40 years ago, shit, there was no internet. Now I have the ability to stream and do this on multiple platforms. Shit, I'm on TikTok right now and I'm on YouTube. A couple of weeks ago, I think I was on every single platform I had. I literally was talking on TikTok, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. All the major ones, I was just blasting it out to anything, but I don't have the resources like that. My computer was about to I think my computer was about to blow up at that point. So it was just like, we're not doing that again. So we just kept it to, hey, we'll stick to YouTube and TikTok is on my phone and that's it. But it's just like, this is information that's there. If the ability to get this information out is way easier now than what it was before. The problem is that you have a lot of misinformation and you have a lot of, I would say, ignorance towards the VA and towards veterans. And that hinders the capability of teaching. That hinders the ability to show people the basics, show people the fundamentals. The same way you were taught while in service, the basics, the fundamentals of shooting, marching, and all that. They didn't just tell you march. They didn't just tell you, hey, qualify. They went through the steps and the motion. It's the same thing outside of the military with the VA. Go through the steps and the motions of what it is, how you get a rating, what are the different ratings. If you didn't get service connected or you didn't get checked out and stuff like that, hey man, that's not my fault. You bitter because you didn't get documentation? That's a personal issue. Maybe you should go see a therapist about that. Maybe you can file a disability claim off of that because of your bitterness, because of your time outside of service or in service where you didn't put yourself as a priority. Other veterans are trying to put themselves as a priority. I'm putting other veterans as a priority because it benefits them, benefits their kids, benefits all their dependents. And in some cases, it benefits their parents if they've been taking care of their parents their whole time while in or out of service. So it's learning and teaching people the basic instruction, the basic fundamentals of, hey, this is how you will be successful. What you do with it, that's all you. I don't control. Look, ask anybody, any of the subscribers that I have, which is not a lot. Ask anybody who I've told them to do what exactly or follow documentation in any way. None. Annette was the first person I've done an actual consultation with. I did an hour consultation with her. Ask her if I told her to do this, do that, to make sure, hey, you could get this, you could get that. No, I explained to her, look, you have your claims, you have this, you have to explain this in this manner. You have to make sure you're painting the picture for a VA rater. Different eras, different timelines, different jobs, different MOSs, different branches. Everybody does something differently. Not everybody goes through the same experience. Not everybody deals with the same stuff. Everything is literally different. No two veterans have the same exact experience. You could have been with, like, Annette, thank you as always for tuning in, and thank you for becoming a member of the channel. I really do appreciate it. You have yourself a great day. But that's the thing. It's like people need to understand. It's just like all this stuff is free. This is free information. The Code of Federal Regulations, this document right here, this is free. They got a Code of Federal Regulations for all sorts of stuff. If you were an ammo handler or a hazmat transporter, you had a CFR to read into, which explained to you transportation, how you can move ammunition, what ammunitions you couldn't store on the same pallet, what you had to separate on a separate pallet. You had to read that, right? It's the same thing as a veteran. You have to read the Code of Federal Regulations to know where you need to be, what you need to do, what you need to talk about, what it is you can get, where you can get a percentage, where you cannot get a percentage, what's the highest percentage you can get, and all that. And that's all clarified in there for you. Because, like I said, a lot of the times it's misinformation. A lot of people will just go off of the one thing that somebody said and just run with it. There you go. See? Tribulation, ready, survival. What does it say? The VA and they take good care of me. Thing is we don't say that enough. You know why tribulation? Because you have veterans that have had a negative experience. But the thing is you're basing your negative experiences trying to make it as a general factor for all of the VA. That's not how it works. Not every VA is great and not every VA sucks. The problem is that we got to stop putting out this information to veterans saying, oh man, you're the VA, I never go. This is terrible. They left me stranded and stuff like that. It was just, yes, it does happen. There's nobody saying it doesn't. But you cannot make general statements of these things and it just gets worse. To find out how to get assistance for taking care of my mom battling dementia. So that one, I don't. So Queen, it wouldn't fall under the CFR. That you would have to go to. Oh, you would have to go through the VA.gov and see as adding a parent. Give me a sec. So that is form VA form 21-509 to file for it. Because you would have to fill that out and you would have to provide that to the VA and then go from there. And then from there, you would go through the process of them making him a dependent. And from there, I'm not entirely sure what is available. If they are dependent, you get the compensation. And I believe they do some medical, but to the extent there, I cannot, I'm not too in depth on that. There's even the way of doing it through the, here's this. So that is a PDF basically showing if you have a 30% adding a dependent online. Because the thing is most of the time when it comes to it, then adding a dependent, it's for because you take care of them financially and stuff like that. Which in your case, if she's dealing with that, you are probably taking care of her financially and stuff like that. You can add them through it. Now, any other thing, like I said, best thing VSO, American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, or Veteran of Foreign Wars. And those are always the biggest thing. Getting a VSO, that's what I always tell people. Don't go and pay these entities all this money and stuff like that. VSO is free. There's other YouTube channels. There's some that do the stuff like I do, that is just trying to educate you. Not many of them do that. A lot of them just like the clickbait and they just want to get you the information to get you there. I've had her for 3 years now. Never thought of putting her in a home. Yeah, no, hell no. You ain't putting her in a home. But you can put her as a dependent and have her there. There's still going to be some documentation that you have to go. You can always also call the VA and ask them what other documentation will be needed. It just basically, it's basically if you've been taking care of them and stuff like that, it just adds to your thing. Oh, hold on, let me see. Because it says 38 CFR 3. Table of contents. Let's go to chapter 1. See part 3. 3.250. That looks old. Parent. So this is just a justification of what it says as a parent. Hey, no problem, tribulation. But that's all it is. It's just like you just gotta educate people. That's the biggest thing is educating people. And the thing is, like I said, there's ton of resources. The thing is are you using them correctly? Are they providing you the information to actually learn? Like I said, it's the basics. Learn the basics, learn the fundamentals of what it is you're dealing with, what it is you're fighting for. Because that's what's gonna get you the information. And don't hesitate and don't be scared to actually do the legwork, which is I think one of the bigger issues. A lot of people are scared to do the legwork. They're basically scared to go through the motions of doing all the heavy lifting. You're going to have to do some heavy lifting to get these benefits. Look, the VA is not going to call you. Well, they do. They do ask you and they do call you like, hey, do you need assistance with this, this, and that? When you get out the military, you got no idea what the hell you need assistance with. You just glad you ain't at morning formation. You ain't doing no damn 12-mile ruck. You ain't doing no damn run. You ain't doing no layout. You don't got to present or make sure you got your sergeant's time training prepared. You ain't doing none of that shit. You ain't concerned with none of that shit. You just know you ain't dealing with all that other shit. Plain and simple. The VA is going to call you and be like, hey, we have this, and this. And you're going to be like, bro, I'm done with y'all. Don't call me no more. A lot of veterans do that. I don't want to know about the military. I don't want to hear about the military. I don't give a shit what you got to offer. Don't call my ass no more. Plain and simple. And that's as easy as it gets. But they do call you. They do say, hey, we have this program. We have this. Anything you might know, bro, I ain't interested. It's just like the VA be calling you. You would swear it's a spam call the way some veterans be acting and responding to it. I was just like, yes, we're trying to call you about your car. No, I don't want no car insurance extension. Nothing. Leave my ass alone. And then the VA goes, okay. He said to leave his ass alone. She said to leave her ass alone. Too easy. I was just like, it was like you do all that rucking and you do all that stuff. And it was just like at the end of the day, you hurt. But the thing is sometimes, like, people don't realize some of y'all get this adrenaline of not being in the military. So ain't nothing hurting. Nothing is wrong. You like, bro, I'm just out. Ain't shit wrong with me besides the fact I ain't dealing with some idiots. Or I ain't dealing with this. I ain't dealing with that. Then a couple of months down the road when that high starts falling down, I was just like, you know what? I know there's benefits. What should I do? Or for some, it's just in their mind, it's like, you know what? I'm not going to make it doing this. I was like, I got the GI Bill. How do I fill this out? How do I apply for schools? How do I don't teach you none of that shit. Be gone. Be on your way. That's it. The same way you did it to them, like, I don't want to hear shit about these people. The same way they did it to you. You don't know anything. The thing is that's where you have to reach out. You have to ask those questions. You have to call the VA. Hey, I'm trying to see about going to school and using my GI Bill. What do I do? You can go to va.gov. Where's it at? You can go to va.gov. Go here. va.gov. Then you can go compare GI Bill schools and be like, why do I want to compare schools? I don't have a reason to compare them. I just want to get to the school. Cool. Education and training. About GI Bill. Something simple. Somebody's a simple to find. Then it goes. Use the GI Bill comparison tool. Apply for education benefits. You do that. Some people go to the site and never even think to actually sign in. Some people go to va.gov and don't even think to create a logon or don't have a logon. And they just try to find information. Trust me, va.gov is a great resource. It's shit friendly, but it has all the resources. It got all the information. You just got to do some heavy digging to find it, which is the problem, which most of the time veterans get overwhelmed. Like I said, I got overwhelmed. Just like, Man, like we did earlier, like we did earlier, how much are you going to get paid with disability rating? So the crazy thing is everybody knows it's 2.5. I have my video showing the 2.5 raise. Why is it that when it's announced already, the VA waits till it's there to put it and not just once it's announced and confirmed? Why don't they update that? Because let's show you what I had to do to get to my disability compensation. I had to go here, went to disability. If you go here, it just gives you eligibility, claim, this, gives you the payment history so you can go there. But if you haven't been getting paid, you don't know. View all in disability. You got to scroll all the way down to find the disability rates. Then once you find the disability rates, then it gets you the current disability compensation rates, which you just clicked on disability rates. So why the disability rates ain't there? Oh shit, I got to click on another one. Now I can get to, oh shit, this is what I'm going to get paid. But it says that 2024. You already know what the numbers are. Why isn't the VA updating it? It's already November. The first payment starts in January. You already a month and a half. You can notify people and let them know and update this, but they don't. They'll give you the past couple of years, special monthly compensation. Same thing. But at the same time, where did this get to? See what I'm saying? Like, look at all the stuff you went through to just try to get the information. That's why I just made a video. Tune in that way. Find it that way. But like I said, it's all free information. This is all stuff that is just like, you got to think outside the box when it comes to filing disability claims, taking care of your disability, finding your education benefits, finding your entitlements, finding your tax exemptions for property, finding your free license plate or your free decal on the license plate, free hunting license, free fishing license, free national parks entrance, whatever your state provides, whether it's free education for your dependents or free educations for you. Like I said, like the state of California and Texas, they have the Hazelwood Act in Texas for veterans education, and then they have one in California, the same thing for veterans to go to school for free. Other states have the same thing. Some don't. Some have property tax exemptions that go off of the percentage of disabling that you are or disabled you are. So if you get 50% disabled, you get a 50% reduction in your taxes for property tax. Some you have to be 100% PNT. Some you don't. Some, as long as you're a veteran, you get it. It may not be much, but you get it. Some you get it at 100% PNT and you get it full. Or some, hey, some states don't charge you taxes on retirement pay. Some do. Some states have no state tax and have no property tax and have no retirement income tax. Got to move around and find it, but you got to ask those questions. You got to look into the stuff. Go to the root level of it. This website is there. It is beneficial. The thing is it user friendly? No, there's too much information. There's so much information in the va.gov, and there's so much information that is just like, it is overwhelming and it's hard for veterans to find. Thing is do the homework. Put the time into it. Whatever else you've been putting the time into, you can do that same thing and take a little bit of time just to start reading the resources, start reading the documentation, start reading all the different DBQs, different ones you can use, start using the CFR, doing that, using the Court of Appeals just to check to see, hey, what is going on? What is going on? Docket search, how to appeal, gives you the breakdown of how to do the stuff and all that stuff. And then just like, that's all there and it's all available for people. You just need to learn to use it. Just research, ask questions. Tune into this channel. You might learn something. Tune into other channels. You might learn something. Take everything with a grain of salt. If they're not providing you stuff like how I am here, where I'm telling you where the .gov site is and stuff like that, do the research when they tell you these things. If they're not providing you the actual documented source that is a .gov site or anything that has to do with a government entity, double check the information they're giving you. Same way, verify and confirm. Yeah, you forgot that? Familia Aguilar. That's the problem with TDIU. If you have to make less than the poverty level. That's the problem that ends up happening a lot of the times with SSI and the TDIU. If you have the TDIU, remember SSI is a different entity. You can claim that, but the thing is that will probably get you over the $15,000 poverty limit line that you are not supposed to be over. Because basically they're saying you're still making enough money, so you're not unemployable. The thing is in cases like that, Aguilar, you may want to go and talk to a attorney with the TDIU to appeal that. Because the thing is in certain circumstances with TDIU, it may be there's another channel. What the hell is the name of the channel? Give me a second. It's a lawyer group that I started following, that they do a lot of stuff like that, and it's a husband and a wife that's what they do. This is the link to their page. After Service LLC. This channel does a lot talking about that. They do a lot of assistance with that. I don't know what they charge for services or how they help or what they do, but I know that's a channel that I've paid attention to when it comes to that, because they give you the information and they show you the documentation of certain dockets, certain cases and stuff like that, which shows you where you need to go and what they provide. It's based off your taxes. Did you make over 15,000? If you made over 15,000, that is the poverty line. As TDIU, you cannot make over 15,000. Whatever the poverty is, like 15,000. I'll give you an exact number. For 2024, the federal poverty line was 15,060. So if you made over 15,060, that means you made over the amount that TDIU is allowed to make. Now, if you become 100% P&T, there is no limit. But if you are TDIU, they are basically saying the most you can make is 15,060. Because the thing is the reason they basing it off your 2023 taxes is that they probably saw through your taxes, through the SSI payments, that you made over the 15,000. Because there's no other way of them reporting that. There's no entity, your employer or anybody is not going to relay that information to the VA. You should hire an attorney, or at least talk to an attorney and see what you can do. Because if you're making over the $15,000, it's pretty hard to fight that. The cases are that most of the time, if you're TDIU, like let's say because of your disability, you are in a protected job. In some cases, it might work for you. But that's when I say when it comes to that, you would have to specifically talk to an attorney. Because if it's just like they explained it on that channel, it's just like they were going through a file and it might a case that they might change because the person is TDIU, but they are exempt from certain things through the Disability Act also, but they are having preferable treatment in the manner of, because of the disability, they get this or get that, or it's a protected job where just because of the fact that you have this disability means that you can still, no. If you're not making that money anymore though, that's something there I don't know, because it means that you were making it before and you did it. I don't know. That definitely is attorney. That's definitely attorney situation right there. Because that right there, I don't know. Because you were making that money, but now you are no longer making that money. So it's just like, yes, they noted it from 2023. It was just like, oh man, this man made more than what he was supposed to. He don't need TDIU. Thing is you have to do that because maybe you have to appeal it and show that. Basically showing like, hey, this is what I made this year, but this is in 2024, I've only made this amount. The thing is were you over by a lot or were you over by a little? That factors into it a lot. If you went way over, then it's just like you were employed. If you barely made it over it, then it's a different thing. But yeah, in a case like that, definitely go to an attorney, because there I'm not well versed. I'm not well versed in that. Especially since you made the money, they got it off of your tax number and they did that, and then they decided the next year that you're not making that. That's something that an attorney will probably most likely be able to assist you with better, because of the fact that it's just like they'll be able to navigate the fact that it's just like you had it and now you don't have it because of this reason and stuff like that, and they'll be able to better explain it instead of you just going and just appealing it on your own, because it's just like you basically are stating, I made more this year, I don't make that anymore. That's a justification and a clarification that an attorney would probably be able to better streamline and provide for an appeal process or a court hearing. Like, look, this is what happened, this is the documentation, this is showing that he is no longer, because you're going to have to provide like your financial statements and all that stuff showing where the difference was. Hey, 2023 you did make this, these are my statements for 2024, where I'm nowhere near that information and nowhere clear. So you have to make sure. That's one thing I would suggest you start the process of while getting that attorney. Start putting your documentation together and your finances clear cut. Like, hey, look, taxes of 2023, this is what I made. This is why y'all trying to take this away. This is 2024, because the good thing is if it's happening now, you're at the end of the year and you're about to file taxes all over again. You have that justification, you have that clarification, like, look, made this much, I'm making this much now, I got this, and now you're good to go. Otherwise, any way, get an attorney. Like I said, most cases I try to tell people to do it on their own. In cases like that, when it comes to removal of something, when you showing that you are being removed and it's being done improperly and stuff like that, attorney. Anything that is definitely improperly that you tried, and attorney. Anything else, you can figure it out on your own through documentation. But something like that where they're trying to remove it even though you're not making it anymore, but you were, that's a clarification that you're going to have to do in court, basically showing like previous and future. And then the justification is your location or your job protected. That is just like you're doing this job, but you're doing it because you can't lose this job. You won't lose it because they know you have these issues and they've accommodated these issues for you in certain circumstances. But that would be the After Service LLC. That is a channel. It's a law firm, and it's basically, I know it's the husband and wife, and sometimes they do streams and stuff like that. They just do videos and they go over different topics. And let me see if I can see. I forget where I saw it, but it was just them talking, and it was just a video they made, and they were talking about it. It was just like, because they deal with a lot of TDIU stuff, and they were talking about a case that is actually going through right now that might change the justification or the definition of how TDIU works. And it goes also into the 100% P&T. So it gives that justification and that clarification as to how it is. So that's something, like I said, everything as we continue to go, veterans, we just need to make sure we're paying attention to possible changes, possible things, because that's what it is. That's what it is. There's changes coming, whether through this administration or just changes that are coming through proposed things that the VA was already planning. There are changes. 2025, there's going to be changes for veteran services, veteran benefits, veteran compensation, possible changes to like how we contract people, how money is spent, what budget is going to be reduced, stuff like that. Thank you, Nikki. As always, appreciate you. That's all stuff that's going to be there. There's going to be changes, so keep aware of what it is, but at the same time, make sure it's a reliable source you are paying attention to. Make sure that it is a .gov site, whether it's vanews.gov or this one, the United States Court of Appeals page, VA News, stuff like that. Make sure you're paying attention to these, because this is where the information is direct. This is where the information is correct and it's factual. It's not my opinion. It's not my opinion. VA.gov is VA.gov. VA News, that's VA News. That's VA news. That's information that's there. Like, hey, look, veteran homelessness reaches record low, decreasing by 7.5% since 2023. That's news. That's coming from the .gov site. It's not, I read this and this is what I think. No. That's why it's just like here, we try to make sure you're going to this, you're finding the information you need, you get it correctly. If I can't tell you, I'm going to tell you where you can look at it, and then I'm going to advise you to get an attorney or get in a VSO. There's no reason to spend thousands of dollars or have to back pay an organization, whatever, for something that is free information that you can obtain, you can look at, you can resource, and you get it that way. There's no need for that. But, all right, y'all. I've almost been going for 4 hours. This has been one of the longer awareness project Q&A / workshops. So yeah, we are going to call it. We're gonna call it, y'all. This has been. We've been going. We've been going. I'll say that. We have been going. I ain't even realized. No, we've been going for this long. But that's the thing. It's just like when you start talking to veterans, you start realizing all this information, and it's just like people ask questions. You try to show them in the right way, try to put them in the right direction. Overall, we were talking about VA forms and how important a disability DBQ can be when it comes to filing your claims. Telling y'all how creating a database for it to provide VA forms so that you know what they look like, what they are, and how they can assist you. And the website is on the way also, just to make sure that's out there. But yeah, this is always free information, y'all. We do these every Sunday, 12 noon Central Standard Time. This upcoming week, we probably will not have a stream though. I will be at a sporting event, which will not allow me to stream. Maybe I do a little quick live at the game, maybe. Doubt it, because I won't be able to answer any questions there. It's gonna be probably loud as hell too. But yeah, we're gonna end it on that note. But like I said, every Sunday, 12 noon Central Standard Time, we do these. This is to help veterans, to assist veterans, help you with benefits, entitlements, exemptions, help your dependents, your spouse, everybody, so that all those things you earned for serving this country and sacrificing for this country, you know, and are educated on, and you know what you need for it. As always, I appreciate y'all. Be good to one another. Look out for one another. Love one another. Take care of one another. And stay marvelous while doing it. I'm Just Cruz. This is the Veteran Awareness Project. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in for the workshop. We'll see you not next Sunday. We will see you at some point throughout the week. I'll probably post it on the thing. So make sure, if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Make sure your notifications are on so that way you are aware when I go live. So that way, if you have any questions, something pops into your head, you have a comment, make sure to leave it in the video. Make sure to leave it on any one of the posts. If you have a question that you would like answered, let me know so I can look into it beforehand and give you a definite answer when you get it. So thank you, Queen. I appreciate you. Y'all have yourselves a good one. I will see y'all next time. Cruz signing out. Peace.